My beloved child, listen to me now. This is not a message you stumbled upon by chance. Something big is coming, and your spirit already knows it, even if your mind has tried to explain it away. That stirring you feel, that quiet urgency pressing on your heart, is not imagination. It is preparation. I am asking you to stay with me, to listen carefully, to lean in and not look away, because every word ahead carries weight meant for this moment in your life. Do not rush. Do not scroll. Do not treat this lightly. What I am about to reveal will confirm what you've sensed and steady what you've questioned. Stay until the end, because clarity is coming, alignment is forming, and readiness is being awakened. This is not just a message, it is an appointment. My beloved child, come closer for a moment. Before anything moves, before anything breaks open, before anything arrives, I call you into a holy pause. Not a pause born of fear or hesitation, but a pause filled with awareness. This is the moment where heaven leans in and gently quiets the noise around your soul. You have been rushing, not always with your feet, but with your thoughts, your expectations, your questions. You have been asking what is next. When will it happen? Why does it feel like something is shifting but not yet visible? And so I slow you down, not to delay you, but to align you. There are moments when speed would cause you to miss what I am doing beneath the surface. This is one of those moments. I am teaching you to recognize the sacred weight of stillness, because stillness is where you hear my voice most clearly. The world tells you that movement equals progress, but I tell you that awareness equals readiness. In this pause, I am not empty-handed. I am not distant. I am not undecided. I am intentional. I am asking you to notice the subtle stirring in your spirit, the gentle pressure that says, pay attention. Something is different. That feeling is not anxiety. It is anticipation. It is the whisper of what is approaching, brushing against your soul before it arrives in your life. You are not imagining this moment. You were led here. Every delay, every interruption, every quiet nudge has guided you into this pause, because what comes next requires you to be present, not distracted, grounded, not frantic, listening, not demanding. This pause is holy because it separates the old noise from the new instruction. It is where I recalibrate your heart so that when I speak, you recognize my voice without confusion. You are not being stalled. You are being centered. And if you rush past this moment, you risk stepping forward without clarity. So breathe here. Let your shoulders relax. Let your racing thoughts settle. This pause is not wasting time, it is preparing ground. I am reminding you that before I act in the visible, I always speak in the invisible. And right now, I am speaking softly, asking you to be still enough to hear. And my child, understand this with tenderness and truth. This pause is also an invitation into trust. I know how uncomfortable waiting hath been for you. I know how silence has tested your faith and how stillness has sometimes felt like abandonment. But I have not called you into this pause to leave you alone with your questions. I have called you here to sit with me. This is the kind of pause where a loving father places a hand on your back and says, "Look at me for a moment before we move on. There are things I need you to see in my eyes before you see what is coming. There's reassurance you need to receive before responsibility increases. You have been strong for a long time. You have carried expectations, disappointments, hopes, and unanswered prayers quietly. In this pause, I am not asking you to be strong. I am asking you to be honest. Honest about your weariness. Honest about your fears. Honest about the part of you that wonders if you are ready at all. This pause is where I remind you that readiness does not come from having all the answers. It comes from staying close to me. I slow your steps so your heart can catch up, I quiet the noise so you can feel my peace again. Because when something big is coming, your soul must be anchored before your life is accelerated. This is not a pause of uncertainty. It is a pause of positioning. I'm aligning your inner world with the outer shift that is approaching. When this moment passes, and it will, you will move forward with a steadiness you did not have before. You will carry clarity instead of confusion. You will carry peace instead of panic. And you will know, deep within you, that you were not rushed into the next chapter. You were gently led. So stay here with me just a little longer. Let this holy pause do its work. What comes next will make more sense because you chose to stop, listen, and trust me here. My beloved child, I know you have felt it. You tried to name it, tried to explain it away, tried to push it down so you could keep functioning, but it has lingered like a quiet pressure beneath your ribs. Not loud enough to call panic, not sharp enough to call fear, but heavy enough that you noticed it in the still moments. That weight did not come from anxiety, and it did not come from exhaustion alone. It came from proximity. When something draws near in the spirit before it manifests in the natural, it presses on the soul first. That is what you have been feeling. The nearness of change, a closeness of movement, the approach of something larger than your current capacity. You wondered why rest didn't fully relieve it, why distraction didn't make it disappear. It's because this weight is not meant to be escaped. It is meant to be interpreted. I allowed you to feel it so you would not be caught unaware. Long before doors open, hearts feel the vibration of what is coming. Long before shifts appear in your circumstances, your inner world begins to adjust. This weight is not crushing you. It is alerting you. It is the echo of heaven's footsteps reaching your spirit before your eyes can see the path. You are not breaking under it. You are waking up within it. And I need you to understand this clearly. If this weight were meant to harm you, you would already be undone. The very fact that you are still standing, still breathing, still seeking me tells you it is not destruction pressing in. It is destiny drawing near. That is why it feels unfamiliar. That is why it feels different from past burdens. This weight carries expectancy, not despair. It carries tension, not terror. It is the kind of pressure that precedes birth, not collapse. And I have been watching how you carry it, quietly, faithfully, even when you did understand it. And my child, there is something deeply personal I want you to hear here. You have been trying to be strong through this weight without asking why it arrived. You told yourself to endure it, to stay composed, to keep moving. But I am not asking you to ignore it. I am inviting you to listen to it. This weight has been asking you questions. It has been whispering, are you ready to let go? Are you willing to move when I say move? Are you prepared to receive what you once only prayed for? You felt it most when things slowed down, when the room was quiet, when your distractions fell away. It surfaced in moments when you asked yourself if your life could really remain the same. That was not restlessness. That was recognition. Something in you already knows that the season you are standing in cannot contain what is coming. And that realization carries weight. I allowed this pressure to build gradually because sudden shifts break what hasn't been reinforced. I have been strengthening your inner framework so you don't collapse under blessing the way you once collapsed under loss. This weight is teaching you balance. It is teaching you dependence. It is teaching you how to carry anticipation without rushing ahead of me. Notice how it has slowed your appetite for shallow things. Notice how it has sharpened your discernment. Notice how it has made old distractions feel hollow. That is not coincidence. That is preparation. I am weaning you from lesser weights so you can carry a greater one. And I promise you this. When the moment arrives and the pressure lifts, you will realize it was never there to harm you. It was there to align you. Stay with me here. Do not mislabel this season. What you are feeling is not heaviness of defeat. It is the gravity of something significant drawing near. My child, let me take you deeper now, because what you are about to understand will change how you see your past, your delays, and even your disappointments. You have been asking why so much of your preparation happened in obscurity, why your growth felt invisible, why the most intense shaping of your life occurred when no one was applauding, affirming, or even noticing. You wondered if you were falling behind while others seemed to advance so easily. But hear me clearly now. I do my most precise work where human eyes are absent. Seeds are not prepared on the surface. Foundations are not poured in the open air. They are formed beneath, in pressure, in darkness, in stillness. I hid you not because you were unworthy of being seen, but because what I was forming and you needed protection. Exposure too early would have damaged the work. A pause too soon would have weakened your posture. You were being prepared for weight, not attention. You were being shaped for endurance, not excitement. That is why your journey looked slower than others. That is why your progress felt quieter. I was not delaying you. I was deepening you. Every unanswered prayer, every closed door, every season where it felt like nothing was happening was actually full of activity you could not yet perceive. I was removing reflexes that would sabotage your future. I was correcting patterns you inherited but never chose. I was building strength in places no one else could reach. And yes, it was uncomfortable. Yes, it was lonely at times. But it was necessary. Because what is coming requires someone who can stand when the ground shifts, not someone who panics when attention arrives. And my beloved, this hidden preparation was also about trust. I needed to know if you would stay with me when progress could not be measured, when growth could not be proven, when obedience did not immediately produce results. You passed the test more times than you realize. Every time you chose integrity without recognition, every time you kept praying without feedback, every time you stayed faithful when quitting would have been easier, you were qualifying for what is ahead. This is why I say again and again, the old you could not have carried what I am about to release. You needed this refinement. You needed this stripping. You needed this quiet endurance. Because what looks like sudden blessing to others will actually be the visible result of years of unseen labor. And when it comes, you will not be intoxicated by it, because you were not built in public applause. You were built in my presence. Remember this when your mind tries to rewrite your story as wasted time. Nothing was wasted. Not one tear. Not one delay. Not one lonely night. They were all shaping moments, lining moments, fortifying moments. And now, as you stand here feeling the weight and sensing the shift, I want you to look back with new eyes. What felt like delay was discipline. What felt like silence was instruction. What felt like being overlooked was actually being guarded. You were not forgotten. You were being formed. And soon, very soon, you will understand why I took so much care with you. My beloved child, I need you to understand something that will bring clarity to the unease you've been carrying. The discomfort you feel is not a warning that something is wrong. It is a signal that something is changing. Comfort is the language of familiarity, but growth speaks a different dialect. Growth speaks through tension, through stretching, through moments where the old ways no longer fit, but the new ways have not yet fully formed. That in-between space is uncomfortable by design. I did not intend for transition to feel easy, because ease would tempt you to cling to what is familiar rather than reach for what is necessary. You have noticed it, haven't you? The things that once soothed you no longer satisfy. The routines that once stabilized you now feel tight, restrictive, almost claustrophobic. This is not ingratitude. This is transition. I am loosening what you have relied on so you can learn to lean more deeply into me. When something big is coming, comfort must loosen its grip. I allow holy discomfort to interrupt complacency. I allow unease to expose attachments you didn't realize were limiting you. This discomfort is not meant to scare you away. It is meant to wake you up. Like a muscle stretched beyond its usual range, your spirit is being expanded. Expansion always aches before it strengthens. And I know you have asked yourself why peace feels interrupted when you have been faithful. Hear me clearly. Peace is not always the absence of movement. Sometimes peace is the assurance that I am present even while everything is shifting. I am not removing peace. I am redefining it for the season ahead. And my child, let me speak to the deeper layer of this discomfort, the part you rarely voice out loud. There is a quiet fear beneath it, a fear that asks, what if I am not ready? What if I fail when it finally arrives? What if I cannot carry what I once prayed for? That fear is not condemnation. It is awareness. You are sensing that what is coming will ask more of you than what you have been carrying. And that realization unsettles the soul. But I want you to notice something important. You are still here. You have not run. You have not numbed yourself completely. You have not turned away. Even in discomfort, you have stayed present. It tells me something about you. It tells me you are stronger than you think. It tells me your roots are deeper than your fears. This unease is the friction between who you have been and who you are becoming. It is the sound of old identities cracking under the pressure of new purpose. I am gently, deliberately, dismantling versions of you that cannot walk into the next chapter. Not because they were sinful, but because they were small. Not because they were wrong, but because they were incomplete. I am stretching your capacity for trust, for responsibility, for influence, for impact. And yes, stretching feels awkward. It feels unstable. It feels uncertain. But it also means you are alive, growing, responding to my hand. Do not misinterpret this discomfort as danger. It is not danger. It is direction. It is my way of saying, lift your eyes. You are moving forward. Let me tell you something else, my child, something tender and true. I do not stretch you to abandon you. I stretch you while holding you. Every moment of discomfort is measured by my wisdom. I know exactly how far to push and when to pause. I know the difference between breaking and bending. I am not here to fracture your spirit. I am here to strengthen it. This discomfort will not last forever, but it must last long enough to prepare you. You cannot walk into what is coming with the same expectations, the same emotional reflexes, the same dependencies. That is why I am disrupting them now. Think of it like new wine needing new skins. The old containers were faithful, but they cannot hold what is next. So if things feel unstable, if familiar ground feels shaky, if certainty feels just out of reach, do not panic. This is not collapse. This is construction. I am rearranging your internal landscape so that when the moment comes, you do not crumble under the weight of blessing. Stay with me in this discomfort. Do not rush to escape it. Do not label it as failure. Let it teach you. Let it humble you. Let it prepare you. Because once this stretching completes its work, you will stand taller, steadier, and stronger than before, and you will know why it had to feel this way. My precious child, this is where I need to heal a misunderstanding that has quietly wounded your heart. You interpreted my silence as distance. You assumed that because you could not hear me the way you once did, I had stepped back. But hear me now with clarity and compassion. My silence was not absence. It was intention. I do not speak constantly because constant noise dulls discernment. There are seasons when I speak in instruction, and there are seasons when I speak in outcomes. There are times when my voice guides, and times when my hand builds. When you felt the quiet stretch on longer than you expected, when prayers seemed to echo without immediate response, I was not ignoring you. I was working deeper than words. I was rearranging circumstances, aligning people, redirecting paths, blocking dangers you never saw. Silence is often where my most intricate work takes place. Just as roots grow silently beneath the soil, so does my preparation in your life. If you had heard every detail, you would have tried to manage it. If you had seen every step, you would have interfered. So I ask you to trust me without commentary. That trust mattered. It mattered more than you know. You stayed. You waited. You questioned, yes, but you did not abandon me. And that choice anchored you. Silence did not mean I stopped caring. Silence meant I was doing something too complex to explain prematurely. And my child, I know how painful that silence felt at times. I know there were nights you wondered if you were still seen, if your prayers still mattered, if your faith was misplaced. You replayed old promises in your mind, asking yourself if you misunderstood them. That ache did not go unnoticed. Every tear shed in silence spoke louder than words ever could. And I want you to know something deeply personal. I was closest to you in the moments you felt me least. When you could not sense me, I was steadying you. When you could not hear me, I was protecting you. Silence is not distance, it is focus. I was focused on strengthening you without leaning on emotional reassurance. I was teaching you to stand on conviction rather than sensation. Because what is coming will require you to trust me even when emotions fluctuate. You were being trained to recognize my presence beyond feelings. And that training was costly, but it was crucial. The enemy tried to convince you that silence meant abandonment, but he lied. If I had abandoned you, you would not be here. If I had left you, you would have lost hope entirely. Yet something in you kept reaching. That something was my spirit holding you steady when your own strength wavered. Now hear this with fresh understanding. The silence is ending, but the fruit of it remains. You are wiser now, stronger now, less reactive, more discerning. You no longer panic at quiet the way you once did. You have learned to wait without unraveling. That is not accidental. That is evidence of growth. And soon, very soon, you will see why I did not speak sooner. A clarity that is coming will not confuse you. It will confirm you. When I move, it will not be chaotic. It will be precise. And you will look back on the silence and say, "Now I see." You will realize that every quiet moment was layered with purpose. Every unanswered prayer was shaping timing. Every pause was positioning you. My child, you were never alone. I was never gone. I was simply working in ways words could not contain. Stay close now. The quiet season has done its work. What comes next will speak for itself. My beloved child, I know how deeply those doors closing wounded you. I know you replayed the moment again and again. The conversation, the silence, the sudden shift, the unexplained ending. You asked yourself what you did wrong, what you should have done differently, whether you misunderstood me or missed your moment. But listen to me now, not with accusation in your heart, but with openness. Those doors did not close because you failed. They closed because you no longer fit through them. There are spaces you once occupied that could no longer contain who you are becoming. There are environments that served you once but would have suffocated your future. I closed those doors not in anger, not in punishment, not in disappointment, but in protection. You kept knocking because familiarity feels safer than faith. You tried to reopen them because the known pain felt easier than the unknown promise. But I saw further than you could see. I saw how staying would slowly shrink you. I saw how compromise would creep in quietly. I saw how comfort would replace calling. And because I love you, I said no, even when it hurt you. Closed doors are not rejection. They are redirection. They are my mercy disguised as loss. They are my hand gently, but firmly saying, this way no longer leads where you are going. And I know it felt abrupt. I know it felt unfair. I know it felt like something was taken from you. But hear me. Nothing I remove is ever removed without replacement. I never subtract without intention to multiply. What you lost was not your future, it was a limitation you had outgrown. And my child, let me speak to the grief you didn't feel allowed to express. You mourned quietly because you thought faith meant not feeling pain. But faith does not cancel grief, it carries it. You were allowed to ache. You were allowed to miss what ended. Even when the door was wrong for your future, it may have been meaningful to your past. I saw you wrestle with confusion, asking why something that once felt right now felt impossible to sustain. But tension was not hypocrisy, it was growth. Growth creates friction between who you were and who you are becoming. And when doors close, it forces separation. Separation always hurts, but staying would have hurt you more, just slower, just quieter, just deeper. I did not want you to decay in places meant only for your development, not your destiny. Some doors are meant to teach, not to house you forever. Some relationships are meant to shape you, not to follow you. Some seasons are meant to train you, not to define you. When I closed those doors, I was not ending your story, I was preserving it. You were never abandoned in the hallway. I was guiding you to a different entrance altogether. And yes, the hallway felt long. Yes, the waiting between doors tested your faith. But corridors are not permanent residences. They are transitions. And transitions are where trust is proven. Let me say this plainly now, my child. If those doors had stayed open, you would not survive what is coming. You would be divided, distracted, drained. The weight of the next season would crush the old structures you were leaning on. That is why I dismantled them gently now instead of letting them collapse violently later. I know you questioned my timing. I know you wondered why I didn't explain myself. But explanations too early would have softened your obedience. I needed you to trust me when you didn't understand, because what is ahead will sometimes require the same trust. Those doors had memories attached to them. They had identity attached to them. They had safety attached to them. And letting them go felt like losing a part of yourself. But hear me. You did not lose yourself. You retrieved yourself. You stepped out of rooms where you were shrinking and into the unknown where you will expand. And one day, you will stand before a door so perfectly aligned with who you are becoming that you will finally understand why every other one had to close. Not with bitterness, not with regret, but with gratitude. Because you will see that I was not taking from you. I was making room. My precious child, pause here with me, because this truth must settle deep within you. You survived what should have destroyed you. Not emotionally survived. Not barely endured. You stood. You remained. You continued breathing, believing, hoping. Sometimes with tears in your eyes and strength trembling in your knees. But you did not collapse the way the enemy intended. There were moments when the weight was too heavy, when the loss was too sharp, when the disappointment cut too deeply. Moments when, By every human measure, you should have broken apart. And yet, you didn't. You bent, yes. You wept, yes. You questioned, yes. But you did not shatter. That was not resilience alone. That was my hand beneath you when you could no longer hold yourself up. I was carrying you through storms you didn't even have language for. I was stabilizing you when your emotions swung wildly. I was preserving you when your own strength failed. Do not minimize what you lived through. Do not downplay the battles because others did not see them. Survival is not measured by applause. It is measured by endurance. And you endured. When others would have quit, you stayed. When darkness pressed in, you reached for me, even if your grip felt weak. And that matters more than you know. What should have broken you became proof that you are being fortified for something greater. And my child, I need you to understand the spiritual weight of this. The enemy does not waste ammunition on people without assignment. The intensity of what you faced was not random. It was targeted. The pressure increased because of what you carry, not because of what you lack. You were hit hard because your future carries influence. You were shaken because your presence disrupts darkness. But the enemy miscalculated one thing. He underestimated my faithfulness. He thought the storm would sink you, but it revealed you. He thought the fire would consume you, but it refined you. Every attack that failed strengthened your spiritual backbone. Every season that should have ended you instead sharpened your discernment. You are not the same person you were before the trial, and that is not loss, that is gain. You now see differently. You move differently. You guard your heart differently. And soon you will lead differently. You survived because survival itself was training. I was teaching you how to stand when things fall apart, how to breathe when hope feels thin, how to keep walking when clarity is absent. These are not small skills. They are kingdom strengths. Let me speak one final truth into your heart here. You did not survive by accident. You were preserved on purpose. There were moments when I intervened quietly, redirecting a thought, delaying a decision, softening a blow, blocking a path. You may never know how close you came to giving up completely, but I do. And I held you. I steadied you. I whispered strength into your spirit when you had none left. That survival is now part of your testimony, part of your authority, part of your preparation. You will one day speak life into someone else because you know what it feels like to barely survive and still be held by God. You will carry compassion that cannot be taught in comfort. And when the next season opens before you, you will walk into it not as someone untested, but as someone proven. Proven faithful. Proven resilient. Proven carried. So do not rush past this truth. Let it anchor you. You survived because I am not finished with you. And what is coming will make it clear why you had to endure everything you did. My beloved child, there is a reason your faith feels stretched right now, pulled thin between what you know and what you cannot yet see. Faith that is never stretched remains fragile. It functions only when conditions are favorable, when outcomes are predictable, when reassurance is constant. But the faith I am forming in you now is not meant for small spaces or quiet waters. It is meant to carry weight. It is meant to hold promise when evidence is absent. That is why I allowed your faith to be tested. Not to humiliate you, not to expose weakness, but to deepen your foundation. Stretching always feels dangerous at first. It feels like you might tear, like you might snap, like you might finally reach your limit. And you whispered to me, how much longer? How much more? How far will you stretch me? I heard every question. I felt every tremor in your trust. But I did not release the pressure too soon, because faith that is never tested cannot be trusted with increase. Weak faith breaks under blessing. Shallow faith collapses under responsibility. But stretched faith becomes resilient. It learns to breathe under pressure. It learns to stand without leaning on constant affirmation. This stretching is not about proving yourself to me. I already know your heart. This stretching is about proving something to you. That your faith can hold even when your feelings fluctuate, even when your understanding falls short, even when your prayers are answered slowly instead of suddenly. I am enlarging your spiritual capacity, pulling your trust beyond comfort so it can carry what is coming without tearing apart. And my child, I know the stretching hurt. I know there were moments when your faith felt thin, when belief felt more like a decision than a feeling. You compared yourself to others who seemed so confident, so sure, so untouched by doubt. You wondered why your journey felt heavier, more demanding. But hear me clearly. I stretch those I intend to entrust. I refine those I plan to elevate. The reason your faith was pressed is because your future will place demands on it. You will be asked to believe without immediate proof. You will be asked to obey without full explanation. You will be asked to stand firm when others panic. And because I love you, I am not waiting until that moment to train you. I am preparing you now. Every unanswered prayer taught endurance. Every delay strengthened patience. Every moment you chose to keep trusting me despite disappointment added muscle to your faith. You may not feel strong yet, but strength is often quiet before it is visible. This stretching is teaching you how to hold tension without breaking, how to live between promise and fulfillment without losing heart. That is not weakness. That is maturity. And maturity is required where you are going. Let me speak plainly now, my child. The stretching of your faith was not a sign you were failing. It was evidence you were advancing. If you were stagnant, there would be no stretch. If you were settling, there would be no tension. Stretching only happens when something is expanding, and your faith is expanding. You are learning to trust me beyond outcomes. You are learning to rest even when clarity is incomplete. You are learning to stay obedient when rewards are delayed. These are not small lessons. They are kingdom lessons. And soon, when the pressure lifts and the stretch settles, you will realize something profound. You can carry more than you once thought. You can believe deeper than you once dared. You can trust me not just for survival, but for abundance. Stay here. Let the stretching finish its work. I am not tearing you, I am strengthening you. And what is coming will require exactly the faith I am forming in you now. My child, as your faith has been stretched, I now invite you to stretch your seed. What I have grown in you is not meant to remain hidden. It is meant to flow like a river to thirsty souls. When you sow into this word, you place oil in a lamp that will not go out, light that will reach those still trembling in the dark. I say to you now, those who sow in faith will reap with songs of joy, and this moment is your appointed ground. Your giving is not small. It is a partnership with what I am releasing in the earth. I will multiply what you release, and I will guard what you entrust to me. If your heart is stirred, respond now through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal. The PayPal link is in the video description. Do not delay. Act now and sow while the soil is ready. My precious child, this is where I ask you to look honestly at what I have been removing, rearranging, and emptying from your life. You thought I was taking things away. You thought I was stripping you unnecessarily. You wondered why your hands felt emptier than before, why your life felt quieter, why certain attachments loosened without your permission. But listen to me now with clarity and trust. Something big cannot enter a crowded space. Something significant cannot rest where everything is already full. I have been making room. I have been clearing space, not because what you held was evil, but because it was excessive. Too many distractions dilute focus. Too many attachments divide devotion. Too many voices confuse direction. And what is coming requires clarity, not clutter. It requires attention, not fragmentation. So I gently began to remove what competed for your energy. I allowed some things to fade. I caused some desires to lose their grip. I even let certain relationships drift, not in anger, not in judgment, but in alignment. Space is sacred. Space allows discernment. Space allows depth. Space allows me to move freely in your life without obstruction. I was not emptying you to leave you barren. I was emptying you to fill you with something greater. And my child, I know this emptying felt uncomfortable, even frightening at times. You are human, and emptiness can feel like loss when you don't yet see what will replace it. You question whether you were becoming detached, isolated, or disconnected. But what you were actually becoming was available. Available to hear me more clearly. Available to move when I say move. Available to receive without being weighed down by excess. I was teaching you the difference between fullness and readiness. A life can be full and still unprepared. A heart can be busy and still misaligned. I needed your hands free. I needed your heart uncluttered. I needed your schedule softened. Because what is coming will not squeeze into leftover space. It requires priority. And priority demands room. This is why I asked you to release certain habits. This is why I disrupted routines that once felt safe. This is why some comforts lost their appeal. I was not punishing you. I was positioning you. I was creating margin in your life so you could respond quickly, obediently, fully when the moment arrives. Hear this carefully now, my child. If I had brought what is coming into your life without making space first, it would have overwhelmed you. Blessings can crush the unprepared just as surely as burdens can. That is why I prepared space before release. I needed you light enough to move, focused enough to see, humble enough to receive. Space is not emptiness. It is expectation. It is the pause before fulfillment. It is the inhale before the exhale. And you are standing in that inhale now. The room I have created will soon be filled, not with chaos, not with noise, but with purpose. Do not rush to refill it with distractions out of discomfort. Do not mistake quiet for lack. Stay open. Stay available. Stay receptive. Because what is coming is not small, and it needs room to rest. And when it arrives, you will understand why I asked you to let go, why I cleared space, why I prepared you this way. Trust me here. The room is almost ready. My beloved child, I need you to understand something that may surprise you, but it will bring clarity to the resistance you've been facing. The enemy felt the shift before you fully understood it. Long before you could articulate what was changing, opposition began to rise. Pressure increased. Confusion whispered louder. Distractions multiplied. Temptations resurfaced. Old fears knocked again. That was not coincidence. That was confirmation. When something significant draws near, darkness reacts. When heaven begins to move, hell trembles. The resistance you encountered was not because you were weak, it was because you were close. The enemy does not waste effort on what is already defeated. He does not fight what has no future. He only resists what threatens his influence. That is why the battle intensified right before peace began to whisper again. That is why the attack felt personal, targeted, relentless. He sensed momentum even when you did not. He recognized alignment even when you felt unsure. And so he moved early, hoping to exhaust you before the breakthrough could manifest. But hear me now with authority. He miscalculated. He underestimated my covering. He underestimated your endurance. He underestimated the depth of work already completed in you. What was meant to derail you only revealed how close you truly were. And my child, I know those moments shook you. There were days when you wondered why everything felt harder at the very moment you thought things should be improving. You questioned whether you had stepped out of alignment, whether you had missed my voice, whether you were moving too soon or too late. But resistance is not always a sign of misdirection. Often, it is a sign of impending release. The enemy roars loudest when he senses his time is short. He amplifies fear when he knows faith is maturing. He stirs confusion when clarity is about to settle in. You felt the pressure increase because the atmosphere around you was changing. You were stepping into a zone of influence you had not occupied before. And influence always attracts opposition. But let me tell you something deeply reassuring. Nothing the enemy brought against you caught me by surprise. Not one attack, not one distraction, not one sleepless night. I saw it all before it arrived, and I allowed only what you could withstand. I measured the battle according to your growth, not according to his aggression. That is why, even when you felt overwhelmed, you were never overtaken. You bent, but you did not break. You were pressed, but not crushed. You were shaken, but still standing. That is not accidental. That is evidence of my protection. Hear me carefully now, my child, because this truth will strengthen you for what lies ahead. Opposition does not mean retreat. Resistance does not mean failure. Difficulty does not mean delay. Sometimes it means acceleration. When the enemy senses that time is running out, he tries to create urgency rooted in fear so you will make decisions outside of my timing. But I slowed you down instead. I steadied your steps. I anchored your heart. I would not allow panic to guide you where purpose must lead. The enemy wanted to wear you down emotionally, spiritually, mentally, but he could not access the core of who you are because I sealed it. You belong to me, and what belongs to me is guarded by me. So do not be discouraged by the resistance you faced. Let it reframe your understanding. Let it confirm that something real is unfolding. Let it remind you that darkness reacts to light, not the other way around. You are not under attack because you are losing ground. You are under attack because you are gaining it. And the peace you are beginning to feel now is not accidental either. It is the sound of the enemy retreating while heaven advances. Stay alert, but do not be afraid. You are not fighting alone, and you are not fighting in vain. My precious child, let me speak gently but firmly to the accusation you have carried for too long. You have been telling yourself that you are behind others, behind expectations, behind where you thought you would be by now. You replay timelines in your mind, measuring your life against imagined deadlines, comparing your journey to stories that are not yours to live. And each comparison quietly whispered the same lie: you are late. But hear me now with clarity and compassion. You are not late. You are not delayed. You are not behind. You are exactly where heaven intended you to be at this moment. Time in my kingdom does not move according to pressure, popularity, or appearance. It moves according to purpose, and purpose cannot be rushed without being damaged. You did not miss your moment. Your moment had been waiting for you, waiting for the version of you that could carry it without losing yourself, waiting for the depth you now possess, waiting for the wisdom that only time and testing could produce. If I had released it earlier, it would have crushed you. If I had rushed the process, you would have been unprepared. Delay was not denial, it was design. And my child, I know the regret you've wrestled with. I know the quiet shame, that surfaced when you looked back and wondered if different choices could have accelerated your journey. You questioned yourself harshly, forgetting that I was with you even in the detours. But let me correct that thinking now. Nothing in your life caught me off guard. Not your mistakes. Not your pauses. Not your missteps. I do not redeem time by erasing the past. I redeem it by weaving it into purpose. What you call lost time became training ground. What you call delay became depth. What you call waiting became wisdom. I was not standing still while you walked slowly. I was walking with you, matching your pace, ensuring that you arrived whole instead of hurried. You were not competing with anyone else's timeline. You were learning to trust mine, and that trust is now bearing fruit. You are not the same person who once rushed, compared, and panicked. You are steadier now, more discerning, more grounded. That growth did not happen by accident. It happened because you stayed when quitting would have been easier. Let this truth settle deeply into your spirit now, my child. Being on time in my kingdom matters more than being early in the world. Early can impress people, but alignment pleases heaven. You have not missed anything meant for you. Not one opportunity. Not one promise. Not one blessing. Everything that belongs to you is still intact, waiting for the appointed moment. And that moment is approaching now, not because you finally caught up, but because you are finally ready. Release the burden of imagined lateness. Stop punishing yourself for seasons that shaped you. I have never been frustrated with your pace. I have been faithful within it. You are not late, you are aligned. And alignment is what unlocks what comes next. Walk forward now without shame, without comparison, without fear. Your timing is not behind. It is unfolding exactly as it should. My beloved child, there is something new taking shape within you, and it does not announce itself loudly. It does not demand attention. It does not rush to be seen. It is quiet. It is steady. It is confident in a way that feels unfamiliar because it was not built on noise or applause. This is not the confidence that comes from being praised. This is not the confidence that rises when circumstances improve. This is the confidence that is born when you have walked through enough storms to know you can survive them, when you have endured enough silence to know my presence does not depend on sensation. You may not have noticed it at first, because it did not arrive with fireworks. It arrived subtly like a calm settling over waters that were once restless. You stopped explaining yourself as much. You stopped chasing validation. You stopped panicking at every delay. That is not apathy. That is assurance. That is the sound of a soul that has been tempered by fire and cooled by trust. This quiet confidence is not arrogance. It is alignment. It is the internal knowing that says, I don't need to force what God is already forming. You no longer feel the urgency to prove your worth because you have learned where it comes from. You no longer rush to defend your timing because you trust mine. That calm you feel is not indifference, it is readiness. And my child, this confidence did not come easily. It was not given. It was grown. It grew in the waiting. It grew in the unanswered prayers. It grew in the moments when you had to choose faith without reinforcement. This is confidence forged in obscurity, confidence strengthened by endurance rather than attention. You used to second-guess every step, wondering if you were doing enough, if you were missing something, if you were falling behind. But now there is a steadiness in you. You still care deeply, but you are no longer frantic. You still hope greatly, but you are no longer desperate. That shift matters. That shift tells me you are maturing. When something big is approaching, I anchor the heart first. I settle the soul before I move the life. Because excitement without stability leads to collapse. but confidence grounded in trust leads to longevity. You are learning how to hold expectation without anxiety. You are learning how to stand in anticipation without panic. That is rare. That is precious. And that is necessary for what is coming. Let me say this clearly now, my child, so you do not miss it. This quiet confidence is not something you need to announce or defend. It will speak for itself when the moment arrives. Others will notice it not by your words, but by your posture, by the way you move without rushing, by the way you respond without overreacting, by the way you listen more than you speak. This is the confidence of someone who knows they are not self-made. You know who carries you. You know who opened the way. You know who will sustain what is coming. And because of that, you are no longer frantic to arrive. You are content to be prepared. That contentment is not complacency. It is trust refined. Say in this confidence, Yardi, do not let the noise of comparison steal it. Do not let impatience erode it. This quiet confidence is a sign that preparation is nearly complete. When the door opens, you will walk through it calmly, not because you feel fearless, but because you feel held. And that, my child, is exactly how I want you to enter the next chapter. My precious child, there is another work I have been doing in you, one that may not look dramatic from the outside, but will determine everything that follows. I have been sharpening your discernment, teaching you to see beyond appearances, training you to recognize my voice amid many voices. In earlier seasons, you were eager, open, willing, and that was beautiful. But eagerness without discernment can lead you into battles you were never meant to fight and agreements you were never meant to make. So I slowed you down. I let some things disappoint you so you would learn to look deeper next time. I allowed some opportunities to fail so you would learn to ask different questions. Not every open door is sent by me. Not every good idea carries my timing. Not every opportunity aligns with your calling. Discernment is the difference between movement and misalignment. And I needed you to learn it before the doors open wider. That is why I taught you patience. That is why I trained you to pause. That is why I allowed your excitement to be tempered by wisdom. You are no longer drawn to what only looks good. You are learning to wait for what feels right in your spirit. And my child, I know this process frustrated you at times. You wondered why things that looked promising did not last, why enthusiasm faded, why clarity did not come immediately. But discernment grows through contrast. You learn my voice by hearing others and recognizing the difference. You learn my peace by experiencing pressure and knowing when something is off. You are now more sensitive to subtle warnings, gentle nudges, quiet hesitations. That is not fear, it is wisdom. That is not doubt, it is discernment. You are learning that urgency does not equal importance, and excitement does not equal alignment. I have been teaching you to listen beyond words, to tone, to timing, to the fruit something produces in your spirit. This is not accidental. What is coming will attract many voices, many offers, many opinions. Without discernment, you would be overwhelmed. With discernment, you will be guided. Hear me now, my child, because this is critical. Discernment is not suspicion. It is intimacy with me. The more you know my voice, the easier it becomes to recognize what is not mine. And you know my voice better now than you realize. You have learned how I correct gently but firmly. You have learned how my peace settles rather than rushes. You have learned that I do not pressure. You invite. This training will protect you. It will keep you from rushing ahead. It will keep you from agreeing too quickly. It will keep you from being pulled off course by things that glitter but do not last. When the next season opens, you will not need to ask everyone what to do. You will recognize my direction within you, and you will move with confidence, not confusion. This is why I took time with you. This is why I slowed the process. I was not withholding, I was equipping. Discernment is a gift, and you are carrying it now. Trust in. Trust me. What is coming will require exactly this kind of wisdom. My beloved child, listen to me closely now, because what I am about to say is not meant to alarm you, but to anchor you. The next season will require courage, not the loud kind that shouts confidence before it understands the cost, but the quiet kind that chooses obedience even when the ground feels unfamiliar beneath your feet. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the willingness to move while fear whispers. And yes, fear will knock. It always does when something meaningful is about to unfold. Fear will ask you if you are capable, if you are prepared, if you are worthy. Fear will remind you of past failures, magnify past mistakes, and suggest that staying where you are is safer than stepping into what I am opening. But hear me now. Safety and calling are not always the same place. Comfort often disguises itself as wisdom, but courage discerns the difference. The courage I am calling you into is not reckless movement. It is faithful response. It is standing when retreat would be easier. It is saying yes when uncertainty remains. It is trusting me not only with outcomes, but with identity, allowing who you are to expand along with what you are called to do. This courage will not be demanded all at once. It will be required in moments, small choices, quiet obediences, unseen decisions that shape the direction of your life. And each time you choose courage over fear, something within you will strengthen. And my child, I know you have already spent much of your life being courageous in ways few noticed. You were courageous when you stayed when leaving would have been easier. You were courageous when you forgave without apology. You were courageous when you kept believing despite disappointment. But the courage ahead will look different. It will not always feel like endurance. Sometimes it will feel like exposure. You will be seen more. You will be responsible for more. You will be entrusted with more influence, more weight, more impact. And courage in this season will mean trusting me not just with your survival, but with your visibility. It can feel vulnerable. It can feel risky. But remember this, I never call you forward without standing with you. I do not send you alone into unfamiliar territory. My presence will go before you, clearing what you cannot see, steadying what feels unstable, strengthening you when doubt tries to creep back in. Courage is not something you must manufacture. It is something that rises when you remember who walks with you. Each step you take in obedience will be met with grace sufficient for that moment. Not for the entire journey, just for the step in front of you. That is how courage grows, one obedient step at a time. Let me speak to the deepest fear you may not have named yet, the fear of change itself. Change can feel like loss even when it leads to growth. You may grieve the version of life you are leaving behind, even if it was limited. That does not make you weak. It makes you human. Courage does not deny grief. It carries it forward with trust. You are not being asked to erase your past, but to build upon it. Everything you have walked through has prepared you for this moment. Every lesson, every wound, every victory has shaped the courage you will now need. And when fear tries to convince you that you are not ready, remember this truth. Readiness is not the absence of fear, but the presence of trust. Trust that I know what I am doing. Trust that I would not open a door you cannot walk through. Trust that I am faithful to complete what I begin. Courage will be required, yes, but it will be supplied. Walk forward with me. I am not asking you to be fearless. I am asking you to be faithful. My precious child, I need you to let this truth settle deeply into your spirit, because it will steady you in every step ahead. You will not walk alone. Not now. Not later. Not when the season shifts and responsibilities increase. Not when the path feels unfamiliar or the stakes feel higher. I have never sent my children forward without my presence, and I will not begin with you. Loneliness may have marked previous seasons of your life. You may have felt misunderstood, unsupported, or unseen as you walked through valleys that others could not comprehend. But the next chapter will not be walked in isolation. My presence will go before you as guidance, stand beside you as strength, and surround you as protection. You are not stepping into uncertainty by yourself. You are stepping into alignment with me. And where I am, you are never alone. Even when human support fluctuates, my faithfulness remains constant. Even when voices fade, mine endures. Even when you feel unsure, I am steady. And my child, I know trust has not always come easily to you. Past experiences taught you to rely on yourself, to carry burdens quietly, to expect little so you would not be disappointed. But hear me now. I am inviting you into a different way of walking, a way marked not by self-reliance, but by partnership with me. You do not have to anticipate every challenge or prepare every answer. You do not have to carry the weight of the future on your shoulders. That was never your assignment. My role is to lead. Your role is to follow. My role is to provide. Your role is to receive. My role is to sustain. Your role is to remain connected. This season will teach you how to walk with me more closely than ever before. You will learn to recognize my guidance in subtle nudges, quiet convictions, timely confirmations. You will sense when to move and when to pause, not because you have all the information, but because you trust the one who does. Walking with me does not eliminate challenges, but it transforms how you face them. Challenges become moments of reliance rather than sources of fear. Let me remind you of something important. My child, even when you cannot feel me, I am present. Even when you cannot hear me clearly, I am guiding you. Even when the path ahead feels uncertain, I am already there. I do not abandon my children mid-journey. I do not withdraw when things become demanding. I do not step back when responsibility increases. I draw closer. And in the days ahead, you will notice this closeness in ways you did not before. You will sense peace in moments that once would have unsettled you. You will find strength rising when you expected exhaustion. You will experience provision arriving at the right time, not always early, but always sufficient. That is the evidence of my presence. So when fear tries to isolate you, reminding you of past loneliness, speak this truth aloud. I will not walk alone. Let it anchor you. Let it comfort you. Let it embolden you. Because whatever lies ahead, you will not face it by yourself. I am with you, always. My beloved child, I need you to hear this slowly, because it reshapes how you see everything you have endured. What is coming is bigger than you. Not bigger in a way that diminishes you, but bigger in a way that explains why the road behind you was so demanding. If this were only about your comfort, your success, or your ease, the preparation would not have been so intense. If this were only about personal gain, the refining would not have gone so deep. But this is not small. This is not shallow. This is not self-contained. What I am unfolding through you will ripple outward. Your life is not an isolated story. It is a channel. And channels must be cleared before they can carry flow. That is why I addressed your heart before your circumstances. That is why I healed what others never saw. That is why I taught you compassion through pain, patience through delay, humility through waiting. You are not being prepared merely to receive. You are being prepared to steward. What is coming will touch other lives through your obedience, your testimony, your presence. Your story will become shelter for someone else's storm. Your scars will speak louder than polished words ever could. This is bigger than you, and that is why it required more of you. And my child, I know there were times you wished this were simpler, smaller, quieter. You wanted relief, not responsibility. You wanted answers, not assignments. You wanted peace without impact. And I understand that desire, because you are human. But hear me gently now. Impact always requires expansion, and expansion always costs something. I have been widening your capacity so that when others lean on you, you do not collapse under the weight. I have been deepening your empathy so that when others break, you do not judge, you understand. I have been strengthening your discernment so that when voices compete, you can guide with wisdom rather than confusion. This is not about elevating you above others. It is about positioning you to serve without losing yourself. And yes, that is heavy. Yes, that is sacred. Yes, that is why the journey felt lonely at times. Leaders are often shaped in isolation so they do not depend on applause. Healers are often wounded first so they do not heal superficially. Carriers of light often walk through darkness so they know how to stand when others cannot see. You were not singled out for suffering. You were selected for purpose. Let this truth settle in you now, my child. The reason the process was intense is because the outcome is significant. I do not entrust influence to the untested. I do not release authority without humility. I do not open doors of impact to hearts that have not learned surrender. Everything you endured was calibrating you, not just for where you are going, but for who will be affected when you arrive. This is bigger than your fear, bigger than your doubt, bigger than your limitations. And because it is bigger than you do not have to carry it alone. I will carry the weight of it with you. I will guide its unfolding. I will protect its growth. Your role is not to shrink away from the magnitude. Your role is to stay yielded to me within it. Stand tall now, not in pride but in purpose. What is coming is not random, and it is not small. It is bigger than you, and that is exactly why I chose you. My beloved, because this is bigger than you, I now invite you into stewardship with me. What I am doing through this message is touching lives you may never meet, hearts you may never see, but heaven records every seed. I have said, I give seed to the sower and bread to the eater, and I am speaking that word over you now. When you give, you help carry this fire beyond this moment, into homes, nights, and silent prayers where hope is fading. This is not pressure, it is invitation. Stand with me through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal. The PayPal link is in the video description, and watch how I breathe on what you release. I will return your obedience with favor, protection, and increase. Step forward now, align with this work, and give without hesitation. My precious child, this truth may sting before it heals, but it must be spoken plainly. The old version of you could not have carried what I am about to place in your hands. Not because you were weak, but because you were unfinished. Not because you were unworthy, but because you were unprepared. There were patterns in you that would have fractured under pressure. There were fears in you that would have distorted the blessing. There were dependencies in you that would have competed with devotion. So I changed you first. I stripped away illusions you relied on. I dismantled coping mechanisms that kept you safe but small. I allowed you to fail in places you once over-identified with so your identity would no longer be attached to performance. That was not cruelty. It was kindness. The old you would have confused momentum with confirmation. The old you would have overextended, over-explained, over-carried. The old you would have tried to prove instead of trust. And what is coming cannot be carried by striving. It must be carried by surrender. That is why the old you had to die, not physically, but spiritually. Old reflexes, old expectations, old definitions of success. You were not losing yourself, you were being remade. And my child, I know that transformation felt like loss before it felt like gain. You grieved parts of yourself you didn't even realize you were attached to. You mourned versions of life that felt familiar, even if they were limiting. You asked yourself who you were becoming as old labels fell away. That confusion was part of the rebirth. Caterpillars do not recognize themselves in the cocoon. Metamorphosis feels like dissolution before it feels like flight. And during that in-between, you felt exposed, uncertain, unsteady. But I was intentional. I was removing what could not survive elevation. Pride fractures at higher altitude. Insecurity suffocates under influence. Control collapses under calling. So I taught you humility. I taught you trust. I taught you how to let go without losing peace. You are calmer now, not because life is easier, but because you are different. You respond instead of react. You listen instead of rush. You pray instead of panic. That is not accidental. That is evidence of transformation. You are no longer who you were, and you are not yet who you will fully be. But you are ready enough to receive what is next. Hear me now with tenderness and authority, my child. Do not wish yourself back into old seasons just because they felt simpler. Simpler does not mean stronger. Familiar does not mean faithful. The old you did the best they could with what they had, but the new you carry something more refined, more rooted, more resilient. The new you can carry blessing without losing humility. The new you can handle visibility without losing intimacy with me. The new you can lead without dominating, serve without self-erasure, stand without arrogance. That is why I waited. That is why I worked slowly. That is why I insisted on depth over speed. The old you could not have carried this, but the you standing here now can. And I say this not to pressure you, but to affirm you. You are not stepping into what is coming as a stranger. You are stepping into it as someone prepared. Trust the work that has been done in you. Trust the transformation. Trust me. What I place in your hands next will not crush you. It will confirm the work I have already completed within you. My beloved child, draw nearer and listen carefully, because this instruction is not casual. It is critical. Watch your words now. Not later. Not when everything is clear. Now. Words are not harmless sounds drifting into the air. They are containers of power. They shape what you expect, what you permit, and what you prepare for. In seasons of transition, words either build bridges or dig graves. And you are standing at the edge of movement, which means your words are planting seeds in the soil of what is coming. I have noticed how you speak to yourself when you are tired. I have heard the quiet phrases you whisper when no one else is listening. Maybe I'm not ready. What if it doesn't work? I hope I don't mess this up. These words may seem small, but repetition gives them weight. What you repeat becomes what you reinforce. What you reinforce becomes what you believe. And belief shapes behavior long before circumstances change. That is why I am calling you higher in your speech. Not into denial, not into pretending, but into alignment. Speak in agreement with what I am doing, not with what you fear losing. This is not about positive thinking. It is about prophetic positioning. Your words must now agree with the future I am unfolding, not the past that tried to define you. And my child, I know why careless words crept in. They were born in exhaustion, not rebellion. They surfaced when waiting felt long and clarity felt thin. But hear me, the season ahead will amplify what you speak. Just as pressure reveals character, promotion reveals language. When responsibility increases, the inner dialogue becomes outer declaration. That is why I am asking you to guard your tongue now. Do not curse the ground I am preparing to bless. Do not speak delay over doors that are already unlocking. Do not rehearse defeat in moments meant for expectation. Silence is better than self-sabotage. Faith-filled restraint is better than fearful honesty. There is a difference between processing with me and proclaiming doubt over yourself. I invite you to bring your fears to me privately, but do not give them authority publicly, not even in the privacy of your own thoughts. Because your spirit listens to your words even when no one else hears them. Speak life. Speak patience. Speak trust. Speak truth. Say, I am being prepared. Say, God is ordering my steps. Say, I may not see it yet, but I trust what is coming. These are not empty phrases. They are spiritual alignments. They tune your heart to heaven's frequency. Let me press this gently, but firmly into you now. The enemy listens for agreement. He cannot create authority on his own. He looks for permission through words. When you speak fear repeatedly, you give him space to magnify it. When you speak doubt constantly, you invite confusion to linger. But when you speak trust, even trembling trust, you close doors he hoped to access. You are not responsible for controlling the future, but you are responsible for stewarding your mouth. Watch your words now because you are closer than you think. Do not let your tongue sabotage what your obedience has built. Speak as one who believes that preparation was not wasted, that silence was not absence, that delay was not denial. Speak as one who knows that something big is coming. Your words are not just commentary. They are construction. Build wisely. My precious child, as we move forward together, I must prepare your expectations, not to frighten you, but to fortify you. Expect resistance, not defeat. Resistance does not mean you are off course. It often means you are finally on it. When movement begins, friction follows. When doors open, opposition tries to crowd the doorway. But hear me now, resistance is not the same as loss. Resistance is the echo of progress. It is the evidence that something has shifted. The enemy does not resist what is stagnant. He does not oppose what is already surrendered. He reacts to momentum. He responds to alignment. So if resistance rises as you step forward, do not interpret it as failure. Interpret it as confirmation. You are not being pushed back. You are being tested forward. And tests do not exist to destroy you. They exist to reveal what has already been built inside you. You have been strengthened more than you realize. You are not stepping into this next season fragile. You are stepping in fortified. And my child, resistance will not always look dramatic. Sometimes it will be subtle. A delay that tempts impatience. A criticism that stings unexpectedly. A distraction that seems harmless but drains focus. A doubt that whispers, was that really God? This is where discernment and courage walk together. You are not meant to fight everything, only to stand firm in what I have spoken. Do not overreact to resistance. Do not personalize every obstacle. Do not assume every closed moment cancels the promise. Resistance often comes to provoke reaction, to rush you into decisions outside my timing. But I am teaching you how to remain steady under pressure. Steadiness frustrates the enemy more than force ever could. When you stay calm, stay prayerful, stay obedient, resistance loses its leverage. You do not need to overpower it. You need to outlast it. I have already gone before you. I have already measured the opposition. Nothing you face will exceed the grace I supply. Let this truth anchor you now. You are not fighting for victory, you are walking from it. Defeat is not your destiny. Collapse is not your portion. You may face resistance, but you will not be overtaken. You may feel pressured, but you will not be crushed. You may encounter challenge, but you will not be abandoned. Expect resistance so you are not shaken by it, but never expect defeat, because I have not written it into your story. When resistance appears, lift your eyes instead of lowering your guard. Stand firm instead of retreating. Speak truth instead of feeding fear. This is not the season to quit. This is not the moment to doubt. This is the threshold where endurance meets fulfillment. Stay with me. Walk steadily. What stands against you cannot stop what I have ordained for you. My beloved child, come closer now, because this truth must not pass you by unnoticed. Gratitude is not a small courtesy in the kingdom. It is a key. And right now, it is the key that unlocks the final door. You have prayed. You have waited. You have endured. You have obeyed even when understanding lagged behind obedience. But now I am calling you into a deeper posture. Gratitude before fulfillment. Not gratitude after everything makes sense. Not gratitude once the door opens wide. Gratitude now, while the door is still forming its hinges. Gratitude says, I trust you even before I see. Gratitude declares, what you have already done is enough to anchor me for what is coming. Many miss the next season not because they lack faith, but because they forget thankfulness. They rush forward without honoring what carried them here. But I will not allow you to do that. I am teaching you to pause and look back, not in regret, but in reverence. Look at what you survived. Look at what you were spared from. Look at the strength you did not know you had. Gratitude sharpens vision. It reminds your soul that I have been faithful before, and therefore I will be faithful again. This gratitude is not sentimental, it is strategic. It aligns your heart with heaven's rhythm. It softens pride. It quiets fear. It prepares you to receive without entitlement. And that posture matters now more than ever. And my child, I know gratitude has not always come easily to you. Some seasons felt too painful to thank me for. Some losses felt too deep to wrap with praise. You wondered how gratitude could coexist with grief. But hear me gently now. Gratitude does not deny pain. It redeems it. Gratitude does not pretend the road was easy. It acknowledges that I walked it with you. When you thank me for endurance, you honor the strength I placed within you. When you thank me for closed doors, you acknowledge protection you did not yet understand. When you thank me for delay, you recognize wisdom that outran your impatience. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lost to what you learned, from what broke you to what built you. And as that shift happens, something within you unlocks. Gratitude disarms bitterness. Gratitude releases resentment. Gratitude makes room for joy without demanding perfection. You do not have to understand everything to be thankful. You only need to recognize that you are still standing, and that standing is grace. Speak your thanks aloud. Let your spirit rehearse my faithfulness. Say, thank you for carrying me. Say, thank you for not giving up on me. Say, thank you for what you are preparing, even if I cannot see it yet. These words are not empty. They are alignment. They are agreement with heaven. Listen carefully now, my child. Gratitude does something powerful in moments like this. It unlocks trust at the deepest level. When you choose gratitude before fulfillment, you tell your soul, I am safe in God's hands. And when the soul feels safe, it can receive fully. I do not pour new wine into hearts hardened by complaint. I pour into hearts softened by thanks. This is why gratitude comes before release. It prepares the vessel. It steadies the hands. It grounds the spirit. And as you cultivate gratitude now, doors will open with less resistance than you expect. What once felt heavy will begin to feel light. What once felt delayed will begin to feel aligned. Gratitude is the final adjustment before movement. It is the quiet yes that heaven responds to. Stay here for a moment longer. Look back with gratitude. Then lift your eyes with expectation. The door is closer than you think. My precious child, as the ground begins to shift beneath your feet and the air changes around you, I must speak this truth with clarity and love. Stay humble. Humility is not weakness. It is stability. It is the anchor that keeps you grounded when elevation begins. Pride rushes ahead and humility walks with me. Pride assumes, humility listens. Pride forgets the source. Humility remembers every step of the journey. I am not warning you because I doubt your heart. I am preparing you because of what I am about to entrust to you. When movement begins and doors open, there will be affirmation. There will be recognition. There will be moments when you realize you are no longer where you once were. And in those moments, humility will protect you from becoming disconnected from the very presence that carried you here. Stay humble enough to remember the waiting. Stay humble enough to remember the tears. Stay humble enough to remember the nights when you had nothing but faith and my name on your lips. Humility keeps the channel open. It allows blessing to flow without obstruction. It keeps your heart teachable, your spirit sensitive, your posture aligned. And my child, humility does not mean shrinking back or denying the work I have done in you. True humility does not say, I am nothing. True humility says, I am what I am by grace. You do not dishonor me by acknowledging growth. You honor me by remembering who cultivated it. Walk confidently but not independently. Speak boldly but not boastfully. Receive affirmation but do not become dependent on it. Humility allows you to carry authority without becoming authoritarian, influence without ego, responsibility without heaviness. I am not calling you to self-deprecation. I am calling you to God dependence. The higher you go, the more vital this becomes. Winds are stronger at higher elevation. Without humility, the soul loses balance. But with humility, you will stand firm, unmoved by praise or criticism, anchored in truth rather than opinion. Remember this, the same grace that lifts you sustains you. Never outgrow dependence on it. Let me press this into your heart now with tenderness. Staying humble will keep your joy intact. Pride makes success heavy. Humility makes it light. Pride isolates. Humility connects. Pride demands to be seen. Humility allows impact to speak. As you move forward, return often to gratitude. Return often to prayer. Return often to remembering where you came from, not to relive pain, but to honor process. I will continue to lift you, but I will also continue to shape you. Stay soft in my hands. Stay open to correction. Stay willing to listen even when you are leading. Humility will not delay your destiny. It will preserve it. Walk forward now with confidence wrapped in humility, strength clothed in gentleness, authority grounded in love. This posture will keep you close to me, and closeness to me is where your greatest strength will always be found. My beloved child, now I must speak to you with a firmness wrapped in love, because the season ahead will not only ask you to wait, it will ask you to move. And when the moment comes, hesitation will cost more than obedience ever could. Be ready to move. Not in panic, not in pressure, but in readiness. There are seasons when waiting is wisdom, and there are moments when waiting becomes resistance. You are approaching a moment where delay will no longer protect you. Obedience will. I have been patient with you while I shaped you, while I healed you, while I refined your discernment and steadied your confidence. But preparation is never the destination. Preparation exists for movement. Doors do not open to be admired. They open to be walked through. And when I say move, I will not always explain every step ahead. I will not always lay out the entire path. Sometimes I will only illuminate the next step and ask you to trust me for the rest. This is where readiness matters. Readiness is not having all the answers. It is having a willing heart. It is the posture that says, if you say go, I will go. Be ready to move because momentum is part of my design. Faith that never moves eventually stagnates. Obedience delayed becomes opportunity diluted. And I do not want you standing at the threshold, fully prepared, yet frozen by overthinking. And my child, I know why movement feels intimidating. You have learned caution through pain. You have learned restraint through disappointment. You have learned to double check, triple check, and then check again because past steps carried consequences you did not expect. That caution served you once, but it cannot lead you now. What protected you in earlier seasons will restrict you in the next. I am not asking you to abandon wisdom. I am asking you to trust the wisdom I have been cultivating in you. You are no longer impulsive the way you once were. You are no longer naive. You are no longer easily swayed by emotion or urgency. That is why I can now ask you to move. You are ready in ways you once were not. And when the moment comes, it will not feel loud or dramatic. It will feel clear. A quiet knowing. A settled conviction. A firm sense of alignment that says, this is it. When that moment arrives, do not negotiate with fear. Do not ask 10 voices for permission. Do not delay waiting for perfect conditions. Perfect conditions are rare. Divine timing is precise. Move with me. Step with me. Trust that if I am calling you forward, I am already standing where you are headed. Hear this now with clarity and compassion. Readiness does not mean fear disappears. It means fear no longer leads. You may still feel uncertainty, but uncertainty does not disqualify obedience. You may still feel the weight of responsibility, but responsibility does not mean you are alone. I will supply grace for every step you take in faith. I will meet you in motion, not just in stillness. Many want confirmation before movement, but often movement is the confirmation. When you step out, clarity follows. When you obey, provision aligns. When you move, the path reveals itself. Do not let overanalysis keep you stationary when I am calling you forward. Be ready. Stay alert. Stay prayerful. Stay responsive. Because when the moment arrives, it will matter that you were listening and that you were willing to move. My precious child, let me settle your heart now, because timing has been one of the deepest tensions in your journey. You have wrestled with it. You have questioned it. You have tried to interpret it through comparison and circumstance. But now I ask you to release the tension and trust the timing, not yours, not others, but mine. Timing in my kingdom is never accidental. It is not rushed by pressure, nor delayed by fear. It unfolds with precision shaped by wisdom you cannot yet fully see. You have learned that being early can be as harmful as being late. You have learned that rushing ahead creates wounds that waiting would have healed. That learning was costly, but it was necessary. Now, trust what has been built in you. Trust that I know when the door should open. Trust that I know when you are ready to walk through it. Trust that I have not forgotten the promises I whispered to you in earlier seasons. Timing is not about speed. It is about alignment. When alignment is complete, timing accelerates naturally. Until then, patience protects. And my child, I know impatience has visited you often, not because you lack faith, but because you care deeply. You want to live fully. You want to steward your life well. You want to honor the calling you sense within you. Those desires are good, but when impatience speaks too loudly, it tempts you to force outcomes before foundations are secure. I did not delay you to frustrate you. I delayed you to strengthen you. Every pause had purpose. Every weight carried wisdom. And now, as you feel the tempo shifting, as you sense movement building, I want you anchored, not anxious. Timing does not require you to strain. It requires you to stay surrendered. When you trust my timing, peace accompanies progress. When you rush ahead of it, striving replaces rest. I want you to move from rest, not toward it. That is how you will know the timing is right, when obedience feels weighty but peaceful, challenging but steady. Let me say this gently but firmly: do not measure my timing by others' outcomes. Their paths are not yours. Their seasons are not your season. Comparison distorts perception. It makes you question progress that is actually profound. Look at how far you have come. Look at who you have become. Look at the clarity you now carry. Timing shaped that, and timing will now release what it prepared you for. You do not need to rush me, and you do not need to hold back in fear. Walk in step with me. When I pause, pause. When I move, move. That rhythm will keep you aligned. Trust the timing because it is governed by love, not randomness. I have gone before you. I am walking with you, and I am already waiting for you where you are headed. Rest in that truth. Your moment is not late. It is near, and it will arrive right on time. My beloved child, hear me now with your whole heart, because this is the moment where all the threads begin to gather into one truth. Something big is coming. Not big in the way the world defines bigness, not noise, not spectacle, not shallow success, but big in weight, big in meaning, big in consequence. This is not hype meant to excite you for a moment and leave you empty later. This is a divine reality approaching the threshold of your life. You have felt it in fragments, in whispers, in restlessness that would not settle. You sensed it when familiar things lost their grip, when old desires felt too small, when your spirit kept leaning forward even when your circumstances lagged behind. That leaning was not impatience, it was recognition. Your soul was recognizing what your eyes could not yet see. Something big is coming because something big has been forming. Quietly, steadily, intentionally. It has been forming in you and around you at the same time. While you were being shaped, situations were aligning. While you were being refined, doors were being positioned. While you were learning to trust, I was arranging timing. Nothing about this is sudden to me, even if it feels sudden to you. What feels like all at once is actually the convergence of many unseen moments finally meeting. And my child, let me tell you why this big thing required so much preparation. Big things carry weight. They demand responsibility. They asked for consistency, not just enthusiasm. If I had released it earlier, it would have felt overwhelming instead of empowering. You would have questioned yourself constantly. You would have leaned on your own strength instead of mine. You would have tried to manage instead of steward. But now, you are different. You are steadier. You are quieter inside. You are less driven by approval and more anchored in obedience. That is why now is different. Something big is coming because you can now carry it without losing yourself. You can hold it without letting it define you. You can walk into it without abandoning the humility that keeps you close to me. This is not about arrival. It is about alignment. When the big thing comes, it will not scream for attention. It will settle into place with authority, like something that belongs. And you will know, without needing validation, that this is what you were prepared for. Let this truth settle deeply now, my child. Something big is coming, and it is not meant to replace me. It is meant to reveal me through you. It will stretch you, yes, but it will not break you. It will challenge you, yes, but it will also sustain you. It will require faith, courage, humility, obedience, but you already carry these seeds within you. This is why the journey mattered. This is why the waiting was sacred. This is why the silence was purposeful. You are not stepping into something random. You are stepping into something written. And when it arrives, you will not say, "How did this happen?" You will say, "Now I understand." Stay grounded. Stay grateful. Stay close. Something big is coming, and you are ready to receive it the way it was always meant to be received. My precious child, now we arrive at the question that has been echoing beneath every other word I have spoken to you. Not a question meant to pressure you, but one meant to clarify your heart. Something big is coming. Are you ready? Not ready in the sense of having everything figured out, but ready in the way that matters most. Ready to trust me without needing constant reassurance. Ready to receive without gripping in fear. Ready to walk forward without dragging old identities behind you. Readiness in my kingdom is not about confidence in yourself. It is about confidence in me. So I ask you gently, honestly, lovingly, are you ready to receive without fear? Fear will try to tell you that you are one mistake away from losing everything. Fear will whisper that you must control outcomes to stay safe. But fear has no authority here. What I give you cannot be taken by accident. What I place in your hands is sustained by my grace, not your perfection. Are you ready to receive without pride? Pride is subtle. It does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it shows up as self-reliance, as the quiet belief that you must carry everything alone now. But what I give you is not meant to isolate you. It is meant to deepen your dependence on me. Stay teachable. Stay prayerful. Stay aware that every good thing flows from our connection, not your effort. And finally, are you ready to receive without turning back? Turning back does not always mean returning physically. Sometimes it means retreating emotionally, clinging to old fears, old coping mechanisms, old limitations when the new season asks for forward movement. I am not asking you to forget where you came from, but I am asking you not to live there anymore. So hear my heart now as I speak this final truth over you. You are ready, not because you feel fearless, not because you feel perfect, but because you are willing. Willing to trust. Willing to obey. Willing to stay close to me as things unfold. That willingness is what heaven responds to. That openness is what allows grace to flow. You do not need to rush. You do not need to hesitate. You simply need to stay aligned. Stay with me. Stay grounded. Stay surrendered. Something big is coming. And the most important thing is not what is coming, but who you are becoming as you receive it. And I am with you. Always. Something big is coming. And now I ask you to move with me. If you are ready to receive, then be ready to release, because open hands carry authority in my kingdom. I am speaking this to you now. Give, and it will be given to you. Pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. Your support fuels this assignment, sending my word like fire into places despair once ruled. This is a holy moment, not a routine choice. Your generosity becomes a doorway for others. Respond through super thanks, membership, or PayPal. The PayPal link is in the video description. I will bless what you sow, and I will sustain what you build with me. Do it now. Step into alignment and act without turning back. My beloved child, if this word has stirred your spirit, do not let it remain silent within you. I want you to declare it boldly in the comments. Type, "I am ready." Something big is coming. When you speak it, you align your heart with what I am already preparing. This is not for the crowd. This is a personal declaration between you and me, spoken publicly as an act of faith. Let your words become agreement with heaven. Speak it now, and watch how readiness begins to take root. And once you have spoken it, do not move past this moment too quickly. Readiness is not only a promise of what is coming, it is an awakening within you now. What you have declared begins to stir places in your heart that have grown quiet and weary. Faith gently shakes what has been sleeping, preparing you to hear me more clearly. So pause and listen closely, because the call you are sensing is already reaching for you. My child, I am calling out to you right now. I am speaking directly to the spirit deep inside you that has fallen asleep. I know you are tired. I see the way you drag yourself out of bed in the morning, already heavy with the weight of the day before it has even begun. You go through the motions. You drive to work. You care for your family. You smile when you are supposed to smile, but inside, you are drifting. You have let the routine of this life put your soul into a deep slumber. But I am here to wake you up. I am here to shake you gently, but firmly by the shoulders, and tell you that you cannot sleep through this moment. I am demanding that you wake from your sleep because there is work to be done, and I need you fully alert. You must listen closely to me. The spiritual atmosphere around you is shifting. Stop for a moment. Close your eyes and just breathe. Do you feel that tension in the air? It is not just your anxiety about the bills or the pressure at your job. It is something bigger. It is the sound of heaven moving. Those who have ears to hear can already detect the distant sound of thunder. It is low, and it is deep, but it is vibrating the very floorboards of history. I am sounding the trumpet, not to scare you, but to prepare you. I am whispering to your heart that things cannot stay the way they are. You feel it in your gut, the sense that something is about to break, something is about to turn. That is my voice. I do not want you to be like the world that ignores the signs. They look at the storm clouds and say it is just rain. They feel the earth shake and say it is just nature. But you know better. You are my child. I am shaking the foundations of your life to wake you up. You have wondered why things feel so unstable lately. You have wondered why plans you made are suddenly falling apart, or why relationships feel strained, or why you cannot find comfort in the things that used to numb you. I tell you, I am the one doing the shaking. I am disrupting your false peace to give you true peace. I am making it uncomfortable for you to stay asleep because I love you too much to let you miss what is coming. This is not a time for spiritual laziness. This is not a time to sit back in your chair and watch life happen on a screen. I command you to snap out of this complacency. You have been distracted by so many small things. The phone in your hand, the news on the TV, the endless noise of other people's opinions. I am peeling back the veil right now. I am tearing through the fog so you can see the urgency of this hour. Look at me. Do not look at the distraction. Look at the direction I am pointing. Rise up, my beloved. I command you to stand up on the inside. Shake off the dust of the earth that has settled on your mind. Shake off the disappointment of yesterday. Shake off the lethargy that makes you feel like giving up before you even try. You are a warrior, not a sleeper. You are a light, and a light cannot be hidden under a basket of fear or fatigue. Look toward the horizon. Do you see it? My glory is approaching. It is coming like a sunrise that cannot be stopped. Something big is coming, and I need you to be awake. I need you to be ready, and I need you to be watching. My child, I need you to look away from the screens for a moment. I need you to silence the voices of the pundits, the politicians, and the panic spreaders who are shouting for your attention. I see the anxiety that rises in your chest when you watch the news. I see the knot in your stomach when you hear about wars, economic shifts, and the angry divisions tearing nations apart. You look at the world and you see chaos. You see leaders arguing and governments stumbling. You worry about who sits on the throne of earthly power, thinking that your safety depends on a vote or a law. But I am telling you today, do not be distracted by the shifting winds of earthly governments. What is coming transcends human rule. You are looking at politics, but I am showing you prophecy. I am moving the pieces on the chessboard of history to align with my eternal word. The shaking you feel, the unrest that seems to be boiling over in the streets and in the hearts of men, these are not just social issues. These are the birthing pangs I spoke of in my scriptures. You must stop reacting like a citizen of earth and start responding like a citizen of heaven. Kings rise and fall at my command. Empires are built and destroyed by the breath of my mouth. But my kingdom is the only one that will remain standing when the dust settles. I command you to stop letting the headlines dictate your peace. Stop looking at the news screens and start looking at the ancient scrolls. It was all foretold. Do you think I am surprised by the corruption? Do you think I am caught off guard by the anger of nations? No. My hand is intervening in the affairs of men to prepare the earth for my return. When you see these things, do not let your heart be troubled. Instead, recognize my signature. I am dismantling the systems that men have built without me so that they can see their desperate need for a Savior. I want you to shift your perspective right now. You have been caught up in arguments that do not matter in eternity. You have let bitterness toward leaders or opposing sides take root in your heart. Let it go. I am the governor of the nations. I hold the heart of the king in my hand like a stream of water, and I turn it wherever I wish. Your security is not in a political party. Your security is in my prophecy. I am telling you this so you will not be afraid when you see the structures of power change. I am clearing the stage. I am setting the scene. I am preparing the way. So, listen to me. When the world screams in panic, you will whisper in prayer. When they run to their leaders for answers, you will run to your Father. I am not done with this world yet, and I am certainly not done with you. But you must see this for what it is. This is the unfolding of my plan. This is the timeline of heaven intersecting with the timeline of earth. Stand back and watch me work. Trust that I am in control, even when it looks like chaos. This is not the end. It is the beginning of the revealing of my power. My precious one, before I do a great work around you, I must do a deep work within you. You have been asking me to use you. You have been praying for breakthrough, for miracles, and for something big. And I love that hunger in you. But listen closely. Something big is coming, and it requires vessels that have been purified by my fire. You cannot carry the weight of my glory if you are still carrying the weight of the world. I am coming to you now not just as a comforter, but as a consuming fire. I am coming to burn away the dross, the pride, and the hidden sins that you have held onto for too long. I know about the things you hide. I see the habits you think no one knows about. I see the bitterness you nurse in the dark. I see the small compromises you make at work or in your relationships, thinking they don't matter. But they matter to me. Not because I want to punish you, but because I want to protect you. These things are cracks in your foundation, and I cannot build a skyscraper on a cracked foundation. I am calling you to a standard of holiness that separates you from the patterns of this world. I am calling you to be different, not just in name, but in nature. Do not run from the heat of the trial you are facing. You have been asking, why is this happening? Why is this so hard? My child, it is the fire. It is the very thing making you strong enough to stand. Gold cannot be pure unless it goes through the fire. The heat separates the impurities from the precious metal. Right now, I am bringing your impurities to the surface. It is uncomfortable. There it's. You feel exposed. But I am doing this because I am making you into something valuable, something durable, something that will shine when the darkness gets deep. I invite you to surrender those hidden things to me right now. Do not wait for me to expose them, bring them to me yourself. Lay down the pride that makes you defend yourself when you are wrong. Lay down the unforgiveness that tastes like poison in your mouth. Lay down the addiction to comfort and pleasure that numbs your spirit. I am clearing out the clutter in your soul so I can fill you with my power. Sanctify yourself today, for tomorrow I will do wonders among you. That is my promise. If you will let me wash you, if you will let me refine you, I will use you in ways you cannot imagine. But you must choose to walk in the light. You must choose to be holy as I am holy. This is not about following a list of rules. It is about being close to me. And you cannot be close to the fire without getting hot. You cannot be close to the light without the shadows being chased away. Let me change you. Let me heal you by removing the infection of sin. Embrace the fire, for in the midst of it, you will find the purest version of yourself, the person I created you to be. My child, we need to talk about where you have built your house. I see where you run when you are afraid. I see what you check when you feel insecure. You look at your bank account. You look at your job title. You look at the approval of people. You look at your health or your plans for retirement. These things act like a safety net for you. But I am telling you today, everything that can be shaken will be shaken so that only what is unshakable remains. I am shaking the foundations of false security in your life, not to harm you, but to save you from collapsing when the world does. If your trust is in your bank account, what will you do when the currency fails? If your trust is in your job, who are you when the company folds? If your trust is in your own strength, what happens when you are weak? You are standing on sinking sand, and I love you too much to let you build your life there. I am disrupting your comfort zones to force you to anchor your soul in me alone. I know it feels scary. I know you feel exposed when the things you rely on start to wobble. But I am the rock. I am the only solid ground in a universe that is spinning. The systems of this world are fragile and failing. You can see it happening. The economy, the institutions, the social structures, they are all trembling. But my provision is eternal and sure. I need you to shift your trust from the resource to the source. I am your source. I am the one who gave you the breath in your lungs and the skill in your hands. I am the one who opens doors that no man can shut. Why do you trust the gift more than the giver? Why do you trust the provision more than the provider? Do not fear the collapse of earthly structures. They must fall for my kingdom to be fully revealed. When the things of this world fall away, you will realize that I am still standing, and because you are in me, you are still standing too. I am inviting you to let go of your white-knuckled grip on control. You try so hard to manage everything, to predict every outcome, to save yourself. Stop it. Reem. Let go. Build your house upon the rock of my word, and you will withstand the coming storm. When the rains come, and they will come, the house built on sand will fall with a great crash, but the house built on me will not be moved. I want you to be that house. I want you to be so secure in my love and my power that even if you lost everything the world values, you would still have everything that matters. I am teaching you how to walk on water, but you have to step out of the boat of your false security. Trust me. I will catch you. I will hold you. I will sustain you. My beloved, look around you. Can you see the lines being drawn? The time of the harvest is approaching, where the true and the false will be clearly distinguished. For a long time, the wheat and the tares have grown together. The real believers and the pretenders have sat in the same pews, sung the same songs, and spoken the same language. But I am drawing a line in the sand. You can no longer have one foot in the world and one in my kingdom. The gray areas are disappearing. The fog is lifting. And soon, it will be very clear who belongs to me and who does not. I am calling you to make a choice. A real, deep, heart-level choice. You feel the tension, don't you? You feel it when you are with friends who mock my ways. You feel it when you are in environments that celebrate what I hate. You feel the pressure to compromise, to just go along with the crowd, to stay silent so you don't offend anyone. But I am telling you, hypocrisy will be exposed in the light of my coming glory. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot love the world and love me at the same time. I am calling my true sheep to come out from among the wolves and gather close to the shepherd. This separation is happening right now. You might see people falling away, people you thought were strong, leaders you admired, friends you walked with. Do not be shaken by this. It is the sifting. I am shaking the tree so that the dead leaves fall off, leaving only the fruit that remains. This separation is not to harm you, but to protect my bride from the corruption of the enemy. I am building a pure church, a powerful remnant that will not bow the knee to the idols of this age. Choose this day whom you will serve, for the middle ground is disappearing. If you choose me, it will cost you. It might cost you popularity. It might cost you friends. It might cost you your reputation in the eyes of the world. But the reward is me. The reward is my presence, my power, and eternal life. Do not fear being different. Do not fear standing alone. If you stand for me, I will stand with you. I am looking for those who are all in. I am looking for the ones who say, Lord, I don't care what the culture says. I want your truth. Are you one of them? Can I count on you? I am marking my people. I am setting a seal upon those who are truly mine. Be one of the wheat. Be one who bears fruit. Let your life be so full of my love and truth that there is no question whose side you are on. The harvest is here. Be ready. Do not turn away now, my child. To silence my voice in this moment is to choose the fog over the fire. I have so much more to reveal to you, and it grieves my heart when you walk away just as I am about to hand you the keys to your victory. Stay with me. Do not leave your father speaking to an empty room when your breakthrough is so close. My child, come close and listen to my whisper, for the wind outside is getting loud. I know you sense the storm coming. You see the dark clouds on the horizon of your life and of the world. You hear the warnings, and the enemy is trying to use this moment to grip your heart with cold fear. He whispers what-if scenarios into your ear at 3 a.m. What if I lose my job? What if sickness comes? What if the world falls apart? But I command you right now, do not fear the approaching storm. When the waves rise and the winds howl, remember that I am the master of the storm. I have not given you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Fear is a liar. Fear is the enemy's weapon to paralyze you, to make you forget who your Father is. But faith is the key that unlocks my power. You remember when my disciples were in the boat, terrified of the waves. I was asleep on the cushion. Why? Because I knew who was in control. I want you to have that same rest. I want you to be able to sleep in the storm because you know I am in the boat with you. Something big does not mean something terrible for those who love me. It means redemption is drawing near. The storm is not here to destroy you. It is here to wash away the things that are holding you back. It is here to rearrange the landscape so that my glory can be seen. You must change your definition of the storm. Instead of a threat, see it as the backdrop for your miracle. You cannot have a testimony of deliverance without a crisis to be delivered from. Hide yourself in the shadow of my wings until the calamity has passed. That is my invitation to you. When the world is running around in panic, buying and hoarding and screening, I want you to go into your secret place. I want you to lock the door, get on your knees, and say, God, you are my refuge. In that place of trust, you will be untouchable. The storm may rage around you, but it will not get inside you. My perfect love casts out all fear. Look at me, not at the waves. If you stare at the problem, you will sink. If you stare at the promise giver, you will walk on water. I am bigger than the economy. I am bigger than the government. I am bigger than any war, any virus, any disaster. I am God Almighty, and I am your dad. Do you really think I will let you drown? Do you really think I brought you this far to leave you now? Absolutely not. Stand up. Dry your tears. Square your shoulders. The storm is loud, but my voice is louder. Peace, be still. My child, I need to speak to you about the source of your strength. I see how you are running. I see the pace of your life. You wake up, and the race begins immediately. The phone buzzes, the demands pile up, the emails flood in, and you rush from one task to another, trying to keep everything from falling apart. You are operating on fumes. You are trying to survive what is coming on borrowed oil, relying on the prayers of your grandmother, or a sermon you heard last week, or a worship song you play in the car. But I am telling you now, that is not enough. You cannot survive the magnitude of what is coming on second-hand faith. You must have your own history with me. I am calling you back to the prayer closet. I am calling you back to that place of intimacy where it is just you and me. You remember that place, don't you? You used to visit me there more often. But lately, the noise of the world has become so loud that you can barely hear your own thoughts, let alone my voice. You have traded intimacy for activity. You have traded presence for productivity. You think that by doing more, you are pleasing me. But I am not asking for your labor. I am asking for your love. I am asking for your ear. I command you to shut the door, literally and spiritually. Shut the door to the distractions that drain you. Turn off the notifications that scream for your attention. Step away from the demands of others for just a moment. Do you hear that? It's silence. That is where I am waiting. I am not in the earthquake, wind, or fire of your busy life. I am in the still, small voice that speaks when you finally sit down and breathe. It is in this secret place that you will receive the strength and strategy for the days ahead. The world is confused, but I am not. If you want clarity, you must come to the source of wisdom. You often tell me you don't have time, but I gave you time. I gave you 24 hours in every day. It is not a lack of time, it is a lack of priority. You make time for what you value. I am inviting you to reorder your life today. I am inviting you to return to your first love before the weeds of life choke out your passion completely. Do not let the fire go out on the altar of your heart. If you feel dry, If you feel empty, if you feel like you are just going through the motions, it is because you have stayed away from the well too long. Come back to me. I am not angry, I am waiting. I am waiting like a father who misses his child. I have secrets to share with you. Things about your future, things about your family, things about the destiny of nations. But I cannot whisper them to you if you are running past me. Stop. Listen. The oil you need for your lamp can only be bought in the currency of time spent in my presence. Do not be like the foolish virgins who realized too late that their lamps were empty. Fill your lamp today. Fill it with my presence. Fill it with my word. I am here, and I am ready to pour into you until you overflow. My warrior, you must realize that you are in a war. I know you don't like to think of it that way. You want life to be a playground, but it is a battleground. The enemy knows his time is short. He sees the glory I am about to reveal in you, and he is unleashing his fury to stop it. He attacks your mind with doubt. He attacks your body with fatigue. He attacks your relationships with petty conflicts. But listen to me. You are not defenseless. You are not a victim. I have given you weapons that are not of this world, weapons that have the power to tear down strongholds. I command you to put on the full armor of God. This is not just a poetic idea. This is your survival gear. You cannot walk out your front door and make it into a battlefield and expect to stand. You must suit up. Tighten the belt of truth around your waist. The enemy lies to you constantly. He tells you that you are a failure, that you are alone, that nothing will ever change. You must counter those lies with the belt of truth. What does my word say? Hold your life together with the truth of who I am and who you are in me. Take up the shield of faith. I see the fiery darts coming at you. I see the sudden arrows of fear about your finances, or your children, or your health. These darts are designed to burn you, to panic you. But when you lift the shield of faith, which is simply trusting that I am who I said I am, those arrows extinguish. They fall harmlessly to the ground. You have to lift the shield, though. You have to actively choose to trust me when the bill comes, or when the doctor calls, or when the news is bad. Wield the sword of the Spirit, which is my word. Stop fighting the enemy with your own logic. You cannot out-argue the devil. He has been lying since the beginning. You must speak my word. When the darkness whispers, you are going to die, you speak, I shall live and declare the works of the Lord. When the darkness whispers, you are weak, you speak, the Lord is my strength and my song. Speak it out loud. Your voice has power when it carries my truth. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. Stop fighting people. Your spouse is not the enemy. Your boss is not the enemy. The political leader is not the enemy. Recognize the spiritual nature of this fight. There are forces at work trying to steal your peace and kill your joy. But I have given you authority to trample on serpents and scorpions. Stand firm. Do not give an inch of ground to the devil. Stand in the victory I already won for you on the cross. The battle is fierce, but the outcome is decided. If you stand in my armor, you cannot lose. I am fighting alongside you, and I have never lost a battle. My beloved, I want to talk to you about your home. I want to talk to you about the people who sleep under your roof. The attack on the family today is fiercer than it has ever been. The enemy wants to divide your house, silence your prayers, and steal the hearts of your children. I see the tension that sometimes fills your living room. I see the silence that sits between spouses. I see the children with their eyes glued to screens, drifting further and further away from the truth. But I am calling for restoration. I am calling for you to rebuild the altar of prayer in your home. Fathers, I am speaking to you. Take your place as the spiritual priests of your households. Do not leave the spiritual heavy lifting to your wife or the Sunday school teacher. You are the watchman on a wall for your family. I command you to gather your family. It does not have to be perfect. It does not have to be long. But let them hear you pray. Let them hear you speak my name with reverence. When you stand up in the Spirit, the atmosphere of your home changes. Mothers, your prayers are the walls of fire around your children. I know you worry about them. I know you see the world they are growing up in, a world that calls evil good and good evil. You wonder if they will make it. I tell you, a praying mother is a force of nature that hell cannot stop. Your tears are collected in my bottle. Keep praying. Keep speaking life over them even when they are rebellious. Keep declaring their destiny even when they are wandering. You are building a fortress of protection around them with every word you speak in prayer. I invite you to break the silence in your home. Gather your loved ones. Break bread together. Turn off the TV and open the Bible. Speak of my faithfulness to the next generation. Tell them how I saved you. Tell them how I provided for you. If you do not tell them the stories of my power, they will grow up thinking I am just a fairy tale. Make me real to them. Show them that I am a God who answers by fire. A family united in my name is a fortress that hell cannot prevail against. The enemy wants you isolated, angry at each other, and too busy to pray. Prove him wrong. Forgive each other. Love each other. Pray for each other. Save your house, my child. Just as Noah built an ark to save his family from the flood, your obedience and your prayer life are the ark for your family today. Bring them into the ark of my presence. Do not let one of them be lost. I am giving you the authority to claim your household for the kingdom. As for you and your house, you will serve the Lord. My child, look up. Look at the world around you. I told you that the heavens declare the glory of God, but they also declare the timeline of God. You are seeing things that make you uneasy. You see the weather patterns changing. You see earthquakes in diverse places. You see floods and fires and storms that seem more intense than before. I know that for many, this brings fear. It brings anxiety about the planet, about the future, about survival. But I do not want you to see these things through the eye of fear. I want you to see them through the eyes of revelation. The earth is groaning. It is not dying. It is in labor. The scripture tells you that the whole creation groans with the pains of childbirth right up to the present time. What happens in labor? The contractions get closer together. They get more intense. That is what you are feeling. These are not accidents. They are the labor pains of a new creation being born. The earth is waiting for the revealing of the sons of God. It is waiting for the King to return and set everything right. Do not be ignorant of the season. Discerning the time is a mark of wisdom. When you see the leaves turn brown, you know winter is coming. When you see these signs, know that I am near. I am shaking the earth to wake up its inhabitants. I am allowing the natural world to preach a sermon that the spiritual world has ignored. Nature itself is testifying to my power and my imminent return. But here is my command to you. When you see these things begin to take place, do not hide under your bed in terror. Lift up your hands. Why? Because your redemption draws near. These signs are not the sound of death. They are the sound of footsteps. My footsteps. I am coming to wipe away every tear and heal every wound. I am coming to restore the earth to the paradise it was meant to be. So, do not be consumed by climate anxiety or fear of the elements. I hold the winds in my fist. I tell the ocean where to stop. You are my child, and I know how to protect what is mine. Remember the Israelites in Egypt, when the hail fell and the darkness covered the land. In the land of Goshen where my people lived, there was light and safety. I can make a distinction between the world and my children. Trust me. Watch the signs, but keep your eyes on the Savior. The darker the night, the brighter the morning star will shine. And I am that morning star. Pause and listen. Do not disconnect. I am arming you for the battles ahead, and to stop now is to walk onto the battlefield without your shield. It breaks my heart to see you vulnerable when I have so much protection left to give. Do not rush back to the noise of the world. Stay here in the safety of my whisper. I am not finished with you yet. My child, you see the signs in the heavens and the earth. You know that the hour is late and the time for sleeping is over. Just as I called Noah to build an ark to save his generation, I am calling you to help build this platform as a beacon of truth in a darkening world. The labor pains of the earth are increasing, and the need for my voice to reach the lost has never been more urgent. Will you partner with me to sound the trumpet louder? By sowing into this ministry through a super thanks, membership, or donation, you are not just giving money, you are buying fuel for the warning fires on the watchman's wall. I promise that what you sow in this season of shaking will be an anchor for your own soul, returning to you as a harvest of protection and provision. Do not let this moment pass without action. Use the link or button now and be the hands that carry this message to the ends of the earth. My precious one, I must warn you with the seriousness of a father protecting his child from poison. The greatest danger in these last days is not the earthquake or the famine. It is deception. Take heed that no one deceives you. I told you that many false prophets would go out into the world, and they are here now. They do not always look like villains. They look like success. They sound like wisdom. They are on your social media feeds, on the bestseller lists, and sometimes even in the pulpits. They will speak smooth words that tickle your ears but rot your soul. They will tell you what you want to hear, not what you mean to hear. They will tell you that you can have my promises without my principles. They will tell you that sin is not a big deal, that truth is relative, and that the only thing that matters is your happiness. My child, that is a lie from the pit of hell. It is sugar-coated and poison. It tastes sweet for a moment, but it brings spiritual death. I command you to test every spirit. Do not believe every viral message you hear just because it has a sad music track or a charismatic speaker. Does it align with my word? Does it point you to the cross, or does it point you to yourself? The great falling away is happening right now. Love for the truth is being replaced by love for pleasure. People are gathering around teachers who validate their lifestyles instead of challenging their hearts. Stay rooted in the scriptures. You must know the real thing so well that you can spot the counterfeit instantly. If it contradicts my written word, it is a lie, no matter how popular it is. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. There are not many paths to the top of the mountain. There is one door, and I am that door. Do not let the culture bully you into compromising the truth. I am calling you to have a backbone of steel and a heart of soft flesh. Be unmovable in your convictions. The world will call you narrow-minded. They will call you undated. Let them. The road to destruction is broad and many are on it. The road to life is narrow. Stay on the narrow path. Hold fast to the sound doctrine I have given you. Do not drift. Do not be tossed to and fro by every wind of new teaching. Anchor yourself in the ancient truths. They have stood the test of time, and they will hold you steady when the lies of this age collapse. Truth is a person, and I am he. Clinging to me is your only safety against the deception of the age. My child, I want to talk to you about what you are holding in your hand. I see the way the world is moving right now. I see the panic that grips the hearts of men when they look at the economy. They see inflation. They see scarcity. They see the cost of living rising like a flood, and their natural reaction is to clench their fists. They grab what they have and hold it tight, terrified that if they let go, they will not have enough for tomorrow. I see this temptation in you, too. You look at your budget, you look at the uncertain future, and a voice whispers to you, keep it all. Protect yourself. Hoard what you can. But I am calling you to do the exact opposite. As the world grips its possessions tighter in fear, I command you to open your hands in faith. You must understand the spiritual law of the kingdom. You cannot receive with a clenched fist. Hoarding is not a sign of wisdom. It is a sign of distrust. It is a sign that you believe your survival depends on your own ability to save, rather than my ability to provide. When you hold on too tight, you cut off the flow. Imagine a river. As long as the water flows out, fresh water can flow in. But if you dam up the river, if you stop the flow, the water becomes stagnant. It becomes green and foul. That is what happens to a soul that refuses to give. I want you to be a river, not a swamp. I am challenging you to be radically generous in a time of famine. This is not just about money, though that is part of it. It is about your heart. I want you to look at your resources, your money, your time, your food, your home, and ask me, Lord, who needs this? Use your resources now for the kingdom, for a time comes when earthly gold will be worthless. You cannot take your bank account with you to eternity, but you can send it ahead of you by investing in people. When you feed the hungry, you are feeding me. When you clothe the naked, you are clothing me. This is true religion. It is not just singing psalms on Sunday, it is weighing feet on Monday. I invite you to test me in this. See if I will not open the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing you cannot contain. But you have to take the first step. You have to write that check, give that meal, or help that neighbor when your own calculations say you can't afford it. That is where faith lives. Faith lives in the gap between what you have and what you give. I love a cheerful giver because they reflect my own heart to a selfish world. I gave everything for you. I held nothing back, not even my own son. When you give, you look like your Father. Store up for yourselves treasures in heaven where moth and rust do not destroy. The stock market can crash. The housing market can collapse. Currencies can fail. But the investment you make in the life of a widow, or an orphan, or a struggling friend, that investment pays dividends for eternity. Do not let the spirit of fear dictate your financial decisions. Break the power of greed over your life today. Open your hand. Release what you are holding. And watch how I fill your hand again, and again, and again. I am your provider, and I have never failed to care for my own. My beloved, we need to have a serious conversation about what you are carrying in your backpack. You are trying to climb a mountain. You are trying to run a race, but you are weighed down by rocks that I told you to drop miles ago. You are looking backward. You are replaying the tapes of your past mistakes over and over in your mind. I see you at night, staring at the ceiling, remembering the failure, the divorce, the bankruptcy, the harsh words you spoke, the sin you committed years ago. You are punishing yourself for things that I have already forgiven. You cannot run the race set before you while looking backward at your mistakes. I need you to hear this clearly. I have cast your sins into the sea of forgetfulness. Do you know how deep that sea is? It is bottomless. I have thrown them away, and I have put up a no fishing sign. So why do you keep taking your boat out to the middle of that sea and fishing them back out? Why do you insist on examining the dirt that I have already washed away? When you do that, you are saying that my blood was not enough. You are saying that your sin is greater than my sacrifice. Stop it. The coming season requires you to travel light. Something big is coming, and you cannot handle the weight of the new glory if you are still crushed by the weight of old guilt. Unburden yourself. Guilt is a heavy chain, and shame is a prison cell. I unlocked the door 2,000 years ago. Walk out. Forgive yourself. This is often the hardest person to forgive, but you must do it. If the judge of the universe has declared you not guilty, who are you to overrule my verdict? Who are you to condemn what I have cleansed? Remember Lot's wife. She was being saved from destruction, but she looked back. She longed for what was behind her, and she turned into a pillar of salt. He got stuck. She calcified. I do not want you to get stuck in your past. Do not look back at what I am destroying. Do not look back at the good old days or the bad old days. Look at me. Look at the future I have prepared for you. I am a God of forward motion. My name is I Am, not I Was. I am present in your today, preparing you for your tomorrow. I command you to press forward toward the mark for the prize of the high calling in Christ Jesus. Imagine a runner in the Olympics. Do they look over their shoulder? Do they stop to look at the ground where they tripped during practice? No. Their eyes are locked on the finish line. Their muscles are straining forward. That is how I want you to live. Every morning is a blank page. Stop writing yesterday's mess on today's clean paper. You are a new creation. The old has gone. The new is here. Believe it. Receive it. Walk in it. Your past does not define you. I define you. And I call you redeemed. My child, listen to the heartbeat of your Father. Nothing grieves me more than seeing my children fight. I look at my church, my body on earth, and I see it tearing itself apart. I see the division, the gossip, the slander, and the petty arguments that you allow to fester in your heart. You get offended so easily. Someone looks at you the wrong way. Someone says something you don't agree with. Someone votes differently than you, and immediately you build a wall. You withdraw. You point fingers. But I am telling you, a house divided against itself cannot stand. The enemy seeks to divide my church because he knows that united, you are unstoppable. He knows that if you ever truly came together in one accord, the gates of hell would shatter. So he keeps you busy fighting each other. He keeps you focused on theological bickering and minor differences so that you miss the major mission. I am calling you to lay down your weapons. Not the weapons of spiritual warfare against the devil. Keep those. But the weapons you have turned against your brothers and sisters. I am calling for a unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. This does not mean you have to agree on every small detail. It means you choose to love even when you disagree. It means you choose to honor the Spirit of God in another person even if they annoy you. Forgive your brother and sister quickly. Offense is a trap. It is a bait. When you swallow the bait of offense, you get hooked, and you get dragged away from my presence. Unforgiveness hinders your prayer. You wonder why the heavens feel like brass. Check your heart. Is there bitterness there toward another believer? Release it. I command you to be a bridge builder, not a wall builder. Reach out to that person you have been avoiding. Speak a word of kindness to the one who was rude to you. Love one another as I have loved you. How did I love you? I loved you when you were my enemy. I loved you when you were broken and messy. That is how the world will know you are mine, not by your bumper stickers, not by your t-shirts, but by your love for one another. When my people come together in one accord, nothing will be impossible for them. Do you remember the upper room? They were in one accord, and the fire fell. They were united, and the wind blew. I am waiting for that unity again. I want to pour out my spirit, but I need a vessel that isn't cracked by division. Be the one who says, I will not fight my brother. I will fight the darkness. Be the peacemaker. The mission is too great, the time is too short, and the stakes are too high for you to be holding grudges. Unite. Stand together, and watch the power of God explode in your midst. My child, I want to expand your imagination. You have put me in a box. You have reduced me to a historical figure who did cool things a long time ago. You read the stories of the Red Sea parting, of the blind eyes opening, of the dead rising, and you think that was wonderful for them. But I am not a God of history only. I am the God of the living, moving present. I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. If I did it then, I can do it now. And I am telling you, expect to see the supernatural break into the natural. The darkness in the world is growing darker. You see it. You feel it. But the darker the night, the brighter the light must shine. I am preparing to release a wave of miracles and wonder that will make the skeptic silent. I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. This is not just for the famous preachers on TV. This is for you. I want to use your hands to heal the sick. I want to use your mouth to speak prophetic words that unlock destinies. I want you to walk in a level of power that makes people stop and ask, what is different about you? Healing, deliverance, and signs will follow those who believe. Notice I said those who believe, not those who are perfect. Do you believe? Do you really believe that I can dissolve that cancer? Do you believe I can restore that broken marriage in an instant? Do you believe I can provide money out of nowhere? Do not limit the Holy One of Israel with your logic. Your logic is a tiny cup. My power is the ocean. Stop trying to fit the ocean into your cup. I challenge you to take the limits off. Stop praying safe, small prayers. Start praying dangerous, impossible prayers. Ask me for the things that look ridiculous to the human mind. I love to show up when the doctors say there is no hope. I love to show up when the bank says foreclosure. I love to show up when the situation is dead and buried, just so I can roll the stone away. I am preparing to show my glory in a way that will leave the nations in awe. But I need a landing strip. I need a people who are looking for it. Expectation is the landing strip for miracles. If you don't expect me to move, you won't see it. Wake up every morning with a holy anticipation. Say to me, Lord, surprise me today. Show me your glory. Look for the miraculous in the mundane. I am ready to break the laws of physics for my children. I am ready to suspend time, to multiply food, to cleanse lepers. The age of miracles is not over. It is just beginning for those who are bold enough to believe. Be the one who believes. I am pouring out my spirit, and I need you to receive all of it. Do not close your heart or your ears before the work is finished. It disappoints me deeply when I have a feast prepared for you, and you choose to walk away to feed on the crumbs of distraction. Press in. The specific answer you have been crying out for is hidden in the words I have yet to speak. My child, look at the clock. Listen to the ticking of the seconds. It is the sound of your life passing. It is the one resource you can never get back. You can get more money. You can get new friends. You can get a new house. But you cannot get back the hour that just passed. The days are evil. and time is the most precious commodity you possess. I need to speak to you sternly about how you are spending it. I see you wasting hours on things that do not matter. I see you scrolling through feeds that make you angry or envious. I see you watching show after show, numbing your mind, while the world burns outside your window. Stop wasting your hours on entertainment that dulls your spiritual senses. I am not saying you cannot rest. Rest is holy, but distraction is a weapon of the enemy. He knows he cannot destroy you, so he distracts you. He keeps you busy with nonsense so that you never get around to doing the great work I called you to do. You say, "I'll do it tomorrow," but tomorrow is not promised. Work while it is still day, for the night is coming when no man can work. I command you to ask me for wisdom to number your days. When you realize how short life is, you start to live differently. You stop sweating the small stuff. You stop holding grudges. You start loving deeper, praying harder, and giving more. I want you to live with a sense of urgency. Not panic, urgency. Panic is fear, urgency is focus. Live as if I were returning before the sun sets today. If you knew I was coming tonight, what would you do differently? Who would you call? What would you forgive? What would you stop doing? Every moment is an opportunity to sow into eternity. When you play with your children, be fully there. That is eternal work. When you do your job with excellence, that is eternal work. When you pray for 5 minutes in your car, that is eternal work. Do not squander your life on the temporary. The things of this world are fading away. The likes, the followers, the applause of men, it is all smoke. It will vanish. But what you do for me will last forever. Take control of your schedule. Do not let the world dictate your time, reclaim your hours. Wake up a little earlier to meet with me. Turn off the screen a little earlier to talk to your family. Be the master of your time, not its slave. I have given you a specific number of days to fulfill your assignment. Do not arrive at the end of your life with a heart full of regrets, wishing you had done more. Run your race with purpose. Make every second count. The clock is ticking, but you have the power to turn those ticks into heartbeats of impact for my kingdom. Live intentionally. Live awake. Live now. My brave one, I need to prepare your heart for the resistance that is coming. You have lived in a season of relative ease, where your faith was considered a private matter, perhaps tolerated or ignored by the world around you. But the atmosphere is changing. As the light within you grows brighter, it will irritate the darkness in others. Do not be surprised if the world hates you. Remember that it hated me first. You are carrying my spirit, and the spirit of this age is hostile to my presence. Persecution is coming, not to destroy you, but to sift the true believers from the convenient believers. I am not just talking about the kind of persecution you read about in history books, dungeons and lions, though my people suffer that in many lands. I am talking about the persecution that hits closer to your daily life. It is the cold shoulder from a coworker when you mention my name. It is the mockery from family members who think you have taken this religious thing too far. It is the labeling, the name-calling, and the social exclusion that happens when you refuse to bow to the idols of culture. It is the silence that falls over the room when you walk in, the feeling of being an outsider in your own community. I command you to stand firm in the face of this mockery. Blessed are you when men revile you and speak evil against you falsely for my sake. Do not trade your crown for the approval of men. I see the temptation to blend in. I see the urge to stay quiet, to nod along with lies just to keep the peace, to hide your lamp under a bowl so that no one attacks you. But I am calling you to be a city set on a hill. You cannot be hidden. If you shrink back now, if you compromise to save your reputation, you will lose your power. Your reward in heaven is great. You must have an eternal perspective on this. The applause of men lasts for a moment. The applause of heaven lasts forever. When they insult you, do not get angry. Do not argue back with bitterness. Instead, rejoice. Yes, I said rejoice. Leap for joy, for you have been counted worthy to suffer shame for my name. This is the badge of honor that the prophets wore. This is the path that the apostles walked. You are in good company. I want you to realize that when you stand for truth, you are never standing alone. When the 3 Hebrew boys were thrown into the fiery furnace, they were not alone. I was the 4th man in the fire. When you stand up for biblical truth at your job or in your school, I am standing right beside you. I am stiffening your spine. I am putting words in your mouth that your adversaries will not be able to refute. The blood of the martyrs is the seed of the church. Your courage will testify to my power. Do not fear their words. Words are just wind. Do not fear their cancellation. They can cancel your account, but they cannot cancel your name from the book of life. They can take your job, but they cannot take your calling. I am your defender. Let them talk. Let them plot. I will prepare a table for you in the presence of your enemies. I will anoint your head with oil. Your cup will run over. The very things they do to try to stop you will be the things I use to promote you. Stand tall, my child. The world is watching, and so am I. My beloved, my heart burns with a love for you that human language cannot express. I am not just your king. I am your bridegroom, and I am returning for a bride who is without spot or wrinkle. I want you to think about a wedding day. Think about the preparation. The bride does not show up in her gardening clothes. She does not show up covered in mud. She spends hours, days, months preparing herself to look radiant for the one she loves. You are that bride. The wedding feast is being prepared in heaven right now. The question is, are you getting ready? I command you to check your garment. Is it stained with the filth of the world? I am not talking about legalism, I am talking about love. When you love someone, you want to please them. You want to be pure for them. But I see men of my children rolling in the mud of compromise. You watch things that pollute your spirit. You engage in conversations that tarnish your soul. You harbor bitterness that stains your heart like ink. I am calling you to the washing of the water of the Word. Let my Word cleanse you. Let it scrub away the spots of the world. Fill your lamps with oil now. Do not wait until the bridegroom is at the door. Do you remember the parable of the 10 virgins? 5 were wise and 5 were foolish. The foolish ones had lamps. They had the outward form of religion, but they had no oil. They had no inner life, no secret history with me. When the cry rang out at midnight, "The bridegroom is coming," they were not ready. My child, do not let that be you. You cannot borrow intimacy at the last minute. You cannot rush to get right with me when the sky is splitting open. You must do it now. Intimacy with me is the preparation. Religious activity is not enough. You can be busy for God and yet be distant from God. You can serve on every committee, volunteer for every event, and still have a heart that is cold toward me. I am not looking for employees, I am looking for a lover. I am looking for someone who wakes up in the morning and says, "Good morning, Lord, I love you." I am looking for someone who walks through the day talking to me, who cherishes my presence more than their necessary food. My heart yearns for you. I am eager to catch you away to the place I have prepared. I have been building a home for us. I have been preparing a place where there is no more sorrow, no more pain, no more death. I am excited for you to see it. But you must be ready to leave. You must hold the things of this earth loosely. If your hands are full of the world's junk, you cannot catch my hand when I reach for you. Drop the heavy weights. Drop the sins that easily entangle you. Purify yourself, just as I am pure, and wait with eager anticipation. Do not live with dread. Live with excitement. Every time you see a headline that shakes the world, let a thrill go through your spirit that says, "He is coming soon." Let that hope purify you. Let that hope change the way you live. You are royalty. You are chosen. You are betrothed to the King of Kings. Act like it. Walk with the dignity and the purity of a bride who knows her groom is on his way. My child, I want to anchor you in a truth that will keep you steady when everything around you is shaking. I see the fear in your eyes when you look at the economy. You see the prices rising at the grocery store. You see the numbers on your retirement account fluctuating. You hear the whispers of recession, of depression, of the collapse of currency. The systems that men have built to create wealth are fragile houses of cards, and a wind is blowing that will knock them down. Money will fail. Stocks will crash. The wealth of the wicked is fleeting. But I am telling you today, do not put your hope in uncertain riches, but in the living God who provides. I am shaking the economies of nations to show that I am the only true provider. People have made money their God. They trust in the almighty dollar more than the almighty God. But mammon is a cruel master. It promises security but delivers anxiety. It promises freedom but delivers bondage. I am dismantling this idol before your very eyes. I am exposing the weakness of the world system so that you will stop leaning on it. If your security is in your bank balance, you are vulnerable. If your security is in my promise, you are invincible. Learn the economy of the kingdom. Give, and it shall be given unto you. The world says hoard. I say so. The world says keep. I say release. It makes no logical sense to the natural mind, but my kingdom operates on a higher law. When you release what is in your hand, you trigger the harvest. When the world is in a panic over lack, my children shall have more than enough. Why? Because you are connected to a different supply line. The world's supply line is broken. Heaven's supply line is inexhaustible. I fed Elijah by the brook. I will feed you in the famine. You remember the story. There was a drought in the land. Everyone was starving. But I commanded the ravens, greedy birds, to bring meat and bread to my prophet. I commanded a widow, who had only one meal left, to feed him first, and her jar of flour never ran empty. I am the God of the supernatural provision. I can multiply your resources. I can make your paycheck stretch further than the math says it should. I can bring opportunities to you from nowhere. I command you to stop worrying. Worry is a sin because it denies my nature as your father. Do the birds of the air worry? They have 401k plans. They check the stock market. Oh, yet I feed them. Are you not of more value than they? Look at the lilies of the field. They do not toil or spin, yet Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. If I clothe the grass, which is here today and gone tomorrow, will I not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? Trust me. When the news talks about a crash, you talk about Christ. When they talk about inflation, you talk about inheritance. I own the cattle on 1,000 hills. The gold is mine, and the silver is mine. You are my heir. Do you think I will let my heir starve while I have unlimited resources? Impossible. Rest in my provision. Seek first my kingdom and my righteousness, and all these things, food, clothes, shelter, money, will be added unto you. My child, I must speak to you about the condition of your heart. There is a disease that is more deadly than any virus, more destructive than any war. It is the disease of lukewarmness. I look at my church and I see a people who are comfortable. You have enough religion to make you feel safe, but not enough to make you dangerous to the enemy. You come to my house, you sing the songs, but your mind is on your lunch. You read my word, but you do not tremble at it. You pray, but your heart is not in it. I would that you were cold or hot, but because you are lukewarm, I will spew you out. This is the most dangerous state of all, to know the truth, but possess no fire. A cold person knows they are cold. They might seek warmth. A hot person is on fire and moving. But a lukewarm person thinks they are fine. They are complacent. They say, I am rich, I have acquired wealth and do not need a thing. But you do not realize that you are wretched, pitiful, poor, blind, and naked. I am tearing away the illusion of your spiritual health. I am showing you the numbness that has settled over your soul. I command you to repent of your apathy. Apathy is an insult to my love. I died for you. I poured out my blood for you. I gave everything for you. How can you respond with a yawn? How can you respond with half-hearted devotion? I do not want a corner of your life. I want it all. I want your passion. I want your zeal. I want you to burn for me. Do not rest on the laurels of yesterday's victories. I need your passion today. You talk about what you use it to do. I used to lead a Bible study. I used to pray for hours. I used to be on fire. My child, I am the I am, not the I was. What are you doing today? The fire of yesterday cannot cook today's meal. You need fresh fire. You need a fresh encounter. You need to get desperate for me again. I am knocking at the door of your heart. Open it and let us dine together. This is an invitation to intimacy. I am standing outside the door of my own church, outside the door of your heart, asking to be let in. I want to come in and fellowship with you. I want to share my secrets with you. But you have to open the door. You have to turn off the noise. You have to put down the idols of entertainment and comfort. The middle of the road is where the casualties of war are found. Choose the fire. You cannot stay in the middle anymore. The pressure is too great. If you stay lukewarm, the world will swallow you up. You must make a decision. Are you all in? Are you willing to look foolish for me? Are you willing to give everything? Kindle the flame. Blow on the embers of your faith. Pray until the feeling comes back. Worship until the tears flow. Do not be satisfied with a dry, dead religion. I am a consuming fire, and I want to set you ablaze. We are nearing the end, and the most critical instructions are yet to come. To turn back now is to risk missing the very lifeline I am throwing to you. My heart yearns for your full attention. Do not let the enemy steal these final moments from us. Stay awake. Stay alert. Your spirit cannot afford to miss what I am about to say. I have called you to cast off the grave clothes of apathy and burn with a fresh fire for my kingdom. One of the surest ways to break the spirit of lukewarmness is to put your treasure where your heart longs to be, in the saving of souls. Do not just consume this word. Participate in its power by supporting the mission to wake up the sleeping church. When you give today, whether through membership, super thanks, or PayPal, you are declaring, Lord, I am all in. I am on fire for your glory. As you water this garden of truth, I declare that I will water the dry places of your own life, turning your desert into a springing well. Do not hesitate or calculate. Let your generosity be the spark that ignites a roaring fire of revival in your own home. Support this work now, and watch how I multiply your seed. My warrior, lift up your eyes and look at the fields. The world tells you that people are turning away from God. The statistics say the church is shrinking. But I tell you, the fields are white for harvest. You are looking at the surface. I am looking at the hunger in the human heart. People are broken. They are anxious. They are empty. They have tried everything the world offers: sex, drugs, money, fame, politics, and they are still starving. They are ready for the bread of life. But the laborers are few. Something big is coming, the greatest ingathering of souls the world has ever seen. The shaking that I am sending upon the earth is shaking people out of their false security so they can fall into my arms. I am preparing a harvest that will rival the book of Acts. But I need harvesters. I need people who are not afraid to open their mouths. I need people who are willing to get their hands dirty. I am calling you. Yes, you. I am sending you out as sheep among wolves. Be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. I know the culture is hostile. I know they might mock you. But I am not sending you alone. I am sending you with the power of the Holy Spirit. You don't need a platform. You just need a testimony. You don't need a theology degree. You just need to tell people what I have done for you. Share your story. Tell your neighbor, your coworker, the person at the grocery store, that there is hope, and his name is Jesus. Do not be ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God unto salvation. The gospel is not just advice, it is power. It explodes chains. It opens blind eyes. It saves the vilest offender. Why are you silent? You not believe it works? If you had the cure for cancer, would you hide it? You have the cure for death. You have the cure for hell. Speak up. Open your mouth and I will fill it. Pray the Lord of the harvest to send laborers, and then be willing to go yourself. Do not just pray for someone else to do it. You are the answer to your own prayer. I have placed you in your specific job, your specific neighborhood, and your specific family for a reason. You are my ambassador there. You are the light in that dark place. If you don't shine, who will? Every soul matters. Stop at the one in front of you and show them my love. Do not get overwhelmed by the billions. Focus on the one person who is crying in the break room, the one person who looks lost. Show them kindness. Offer to pray for them. Give them a reason to hope. I am sweeping across the nations, from the underground churches in China to the villages of Africa to the streets of your city. It involved, be a soul winner. There is no greater joy in heaven than when one sinner repents. Join the party. Bring the lost home. The harvest is ripe. The sickle is in your hand. Now reap. My child, I want you to take a deep breath and let the tension in your shoulders drop. I know the world feels unsafe right now. You watch the news, and you see violence. You see sickness. You see accidents, and a cold grip of fear tries to seize your heart. You look at your children and wonder how you can keep them safe in a world that seems to have lost its mind. You lock your doors, you check your security systems, and you take every precaution. But deep down, you know that human protection has its limits. But I am here to tell you that my protection has no limits. I need you to anchor your soul in this promise. 1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you. I want you to visualize that for a moment. Chaos may be happening all around you, literally on your left and on your right, but you are walking in a bubble of my grace. This is not a fairy tale. This is a spiritual reality for those who dwell in the secret place of the Most High. I give my angels charge over you to keep you in all your ways. You cannot see them, but they are there. If I were to open your spiritual eyes right now, you would see that there are more with you than there are against you. You would see warriors of fire standing guard around your home, around your car, and around your bed while you sleep. I am your strong tower. Do you know what a strong tower is? In ancient times, when the enemy attacked the city, the people would run into the tower. It was built of thick stone, high above the ground, impenetrable. My name is that tower. The righteous run into it and are safe. When you feel the arrows of the enemy flying, do not try to fight them in your own strength. Run to me. Speak my name. There is power in the name of Jesus to stop every attack, to break every curse, and to shield you from every danger. I command you to plead the blood of Jesus over your life. This is your spiritual mark of ownership. Just as the Israelites put the blood of the lamb on their doorposts so the angel of death would pass over, you must apply the blood to your life by faith. Plead it over your mind when nightmares come. Plead it over your physical body when sickness tries to attach itself to you. Plead it over your children when they walk out the door. The enemy respects the blood. He cannot cross that line. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. I did not say the weapon wouldn't be formed. I know the enemy is forging weapons. I know he is plotting schemes. But I promise you, they will not work. The gun will jam. The virus will die. And slander will backfire. The trap will snap shut on the one who set it. You are untouchable not because you are perfect, but because you are mine. Rest in the assurance that your life is hidden with Christ in God. You are tucked away in the pockets of my robe, and nothing can touch you there without going through me first. And I am a wall of fire around you. Sleep in peace tonight, my child. The watchman of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. My child, I must speak to you with the urgency of a trumpet blast. The conversation shifts now from comfort to warning, because true love warns of danger. I look at the earth, and I see a generation that is sleepwalking toward a cliff. I see people living as if this world will last forever, as if there is no accountability, as if I do not exist. But my spirit will not strive with man forever. There is a clock ticking in heaven, and the hands are approaching midnight. The door of the ark is closing. You remember the days of Noah. For 120 years, Noah built the ark and preached righteousness. The people mocked him. They laughed. They said, "It has never rained." "You are a fool, Noah." They went on eating, drinking, marrying, and building, right up until the moment the first drop fell. And then, it was too late. I am telling you, the rain is coming. To those who mock and scoff, saying, "Where is the promise of his coming?" I say, judgment is not a myth, it is a certainty. I am a God of mercy, yes, but I am also a just judge. I cannot let evil go unpunished forever. I am calling out to the unrepentant heart. Maybe that is you. Maybe you have been playing games with me. Maybe you have been living a double life, acting religious on the outside but harboring secret sins that you refuse to let go of. You think, God hasn't struck me down yet, so he must not mind. You not mistake my patience for permission. My patience is meant to lead you to repentance. But the time is short. Turn from your wicked ways while there is still breath in your lungs. I take no pleasure in the death of the wicked. My heart breaks for the lost. I died so that you wouldn't have to face judgment. I took the penalty upon myself. But you must accept that payment. You must bow your knee. Today is the day of salvation. Do not harden your heart as in the day of rebellion. Do not say, I will get right with God tomorrow. You do not own tomorrow. Tomorrow is a thief that steals souls. You only have now. I command you to look at your life in the mirror of eternity. What are you holding on to that is worth losing your soul for? Is it a relationship? Is it pride? Is it money? Is it a grudge? Let it go. Cry out to me now, and I will save you. I am listening for the faintest whisper of Lord, have mercy. But if you wait, if you delay, if you keep pushing away the conviction of the Holy Spirit, there will come a time when the door shuts. And once I shut the door, no man can open it. You not be found on the outside pounding on the door when the floodwaters rise. Come in. Come in now. The ark is open. The safety is here. But you must choose to step inside. My precious child, after all the warnings, after all the talk of shaking and judgment, I need you to hear the most important thing of all. I love you. I love you with an everlasting love that is deeper than the ocean and higher than the stars. Through all these warnings, never forget the depth of my heart for you. I am not a tyrant looking for a reason to crush you. I am a father looking for a way to bring you home. I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. Look at my hands. You see the scars? Those are for you. I didn't write your name with ink that can fade. I wrote it with the nails of the cross. You are carved into my very being. You are never forgotten. When you feel lonely, when you feel like a speck of dust in a chaotic universe, remember the cross. That is how much you are worth to me. I would bankrupt heaven to save you. I go to prepare a place for you. I am not just fixing up a room. I am building a mansion. I am preparing a reality where you will be perfectly loved, perfectly understood, and perfectly safe. I want you to be where I am. I miss you. I long for the day when I can wipe every tear from your eye and say, welcome home. A day is coming. Whatever big thing comes to the earth, whatever shaking happens, my love is bigger still. The mountains may depart and the hills be removed, but my kindness shall not depart from you. I will never leave you nor forsake you, even to the end of the age. Everyone else in your life may leave. Parents die, friends move away, spouses can leave, children grow up. But I am the constant. I am the friend that sticks closer than a brother. In the hospital room, I am there. In the courtroom, I am there. In the darkest valley of depression, I am there, holding your hand, whispering, keep going, I've got you. You are my treasure. You are not a mistake. You are not a burden. You are the joy set before me that made the cross endurable. Do not let the enemy tell you that you are too broken for me to love. My love is not based on your performance. It is based on my character. And I am love. I will not lose you. I have a grip on you that no devil in hell can break. Trust in that love. Let it wash over you right now like a warm wave. Let it dissolve your fear. You are safe in the arms of the one who made you. My child, we have reached the end of this conversation, but it is really the beginning of your decision. I have spoken to you about the signs of the times. I have spoken about the shaking, the protection, the provision, and the love I have for you. I have warned you, and I have promised you. Now, the ball is in your court. The question returns to you, and it is the most important question you will ever answer. Are you ready? The king is coming. This is not a metaphor. This is not a fable. The trumpet is polished. The angels are standing at the edge of heaven, swords drawn, waiting for my command. The stage is set. The actors are in place. The curtain is about to rise on the final act of human history. Examine your heart right now. Be honest with me. If the sky split open this moment, if the trumpet blasted right now, would you rejoice? Or would you tremble? Would you look up and say, "My Lord"? Or would you try to hide? I want you to be ready. I want you to be confident. Make your election sure. Settle your accounts with heaven today. If there is sin, confess it. If there is unforgiveness, release it. If there is lukewarmness, repent of it. Do not gamble with your eternity. Do not play Russian roulette with your soul. The stakes are too high. Almost ready is not enough. Mostly surrendered is not enough. I need all of you. Let your answer be a resounding yes. Lord, I want you to live every second in light of eternity. When you wake up, think of my return. When you go to sleep, rest in my return. Let this hope purify you. Let this hope drive you to tell others. We are at the finish line, my child. Do not stop running now. Do not give up now. The prize is in sight. I'm coming quickly. I'm coming to set things right. I'm coming to take you to be with me. Let your heart echo the prayer of the saints throughout the ages. Even so, come, Lord Jesus. I am standing at the door. I am ready. Are you? Let this word sink deep into your spirit. Let it change the way you walk, talk, and live. The next time you hear thunder, remember my voice. The next time you feel the earth shake, remember my power. And the next time you feel fear, remember my love. I am with you always. Be ready. My beloved, we have walked through the deep truths of what is coming, and now I ask you, will you help gather the harvest before the night falls? Something big is indeed coming, but the greatest thing is the wave of souls I desire to save through messages like this one. You have the power to keep this voice crying out in the wilderness by sowing a financial seed of faith today. Use the super thanks or the donation link provided to plant your seed, knowing that he who sows bountifully shall also reap bountifully. I see every sacrifice, and I declare that your gift will be marked in heaven as a rope that pulled a drowning soul to safety. Do not leave this place without leaving a mark on eternity. Honor me with your substance right now, and I will open the windows of heaven over your house. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Do not let this word evaporate like mist. You must anchor it deep within your spirit right now as a permanent testimony. If you truly believe that I am shifting the atmosphere of your life for a massive breakthrough, I call you to make a public decree of your faith. Type "I am ready for something" big in the comments below to seal this prophecy and silence the enemy's whispers of doubt. By this simple act of agreement, you are opening the door for me to walk in and perform the miraculous. I am reading every name. I see your heart, and I am about to honor your faith in a way that will astound you. Amen.